Hello there and welcome to the FNCS Finals. We are back, a new jacket, a new me. My name is Adam Savage. I'm delighted to be your host at the course of the NA East FNCS Finals Day 1. 6 games coming your way, of 12 in total, the next 6 being played tomorrow. We have got so much Fortnite action coming your way. We've just had the first games in the EU regionals. Now it is time for NA East. I am joined by my esteemed colleagues, these wonderful gentlemen here as well. We have Reese and Vivid. Chaps, what a start to this weekend, but we've got so much action coming everyone's way at home.
Yeah, the EU games are amazing, and if they were any indicator of what the NA East games are going to be, we are in for an absolute show here today. This is the most stacked NA East finals I think I've ever seen. Like, I can't pick top teams, I couldn't pick top 10, I spent so long doing it, and I'm so good to get into the games today.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there, Reese. I was looking through the list as well, and the amount of players, how good that these teams have gotten. You could really throw up who you think is going to win as 5 different teams, I think. And I think it's going to, result in a really good set of 12 games that we have over this weekend, and I'm really, really looking forward to watching it.
Indeed, yeah. It's going to be incredible. As we mentioned already, this is day 1 of 2. Obviously, the previous weeks, there have been qualifiers, only 6 games to determine that, but this time round, it's 2 days worth, 12 games in total. Absolutely huge. Let's take a closer look at the format of what's coming your way this weekend as well, and what you can look forward to, because there is, as we said, such a thrill ride coming your way at home. Let's check it out. Let's have a look at this.
Yeah, so the format, we're used to seeing this by now. We're in the final week, but we are in finals. Big white box there, the big important one. Remember, 2 days. We're on day 1. There are 6 games today, then 6 games tomorrow. So all of the prize money from across these 5 weeks is into this 1 day. So everything is to play for. To get here, our teams went through 3 weeks of qualifiers, and each of these had 4 rounds each. So really narrowed down the teams as much as possible. They then went into the semi-finals, where the top 32 teams, came into the finals. And of course, and how can we not talk about it, the reboot round last week, where we saw Zatesaf and Stretch pick up that big victory, clutch it back up, and make it through to the finals and make it up to that whole 33 teams. That was an absolute spectacle to watch. I was thinking, can the finals beat that hype? I guarantee they absolutely will here today.
Yeah, so how are teams going to fight for their chance at winning the Axe of Champions? Well, they're going to gather some points, and the way they're going to gather those points is they can get first place of Victory Route and grab 30 points, second, runner-up, 25 points, third, 20 points, and they'll get placement all the way down to the 17th slot. Now, as we've seen it through the weeks, getting that top 3 position in these games is really, really important, because the threshold there is just so huge. And then elims, they get 2 points per elimination, so elims are really, really important as well.
We have the prizing here as well, everybody. Obviously, bragging rights is one thing, but prizes, look at this. So much money up for grabs here. The prizes are absolutely incredible for all to see there. Reese, this money is life-changing.
It's absolutely life-changing money, and you remember, every single team that here will get some money, so it goes all the way down until those 33 teams. But really, once you get into the top 10, that's when the thresholds start going up, up, and up, until obviously the first place, where everyone's competing for that big money.
Yeah, fighting for that big money. I've been there myself. It does weigh on the nerves a little bit, but I think the teams that are here because they want to win are going to be the ones that are actually going to be able to win today, because just that drive to win, that drive to want to compete and everything like that, usually you don't need money to motivate you to do that. You just want to win, and those teams that come out today and show that they want to win will be the ones that will win.
I respect the flex there, David. I've been there. I've done it. We are.
Me too.
Of course.
Me too.
And you too. Of course. This weekend there is so much action going on all over the world with FNCS. We actually have ourselves some standings here and some winners, because in the Middle East the Axe of Champions has in fact been bestowed upon our trio here. What an incredible sight this is, right, Reese?
Yeah, Cookie, Phantom, and Nile, these guys are the scariest guys on this region. You want to stay away from these. Last season, teams were rotating as far away from them as possible, and this season, throughout their qualifiers and their semis, obviously uncontested. You don't want to fight these guys. They managed to drop 30 eliminations in one of their games in the qualifiers, but they also mean no one rotates around them. No one is dropping center map because they're at Coliseum, and no one is it risky, so people just stay as far away from possible as these teams, because they are that good at fighting.
Yeah, in the Axe of Champions, man, it came down to the last show here. As you can see, only a 10-point differential separating the first place and the second place team here on Middle East, which means that these games were close. Every single one of these games mattered. And as we mentioned before, though, these prizing when you get into that top 10 slot just increases so much. So it didn't really only matter for these first and second place teams battling, but it also mattered for every other team battling. There was only an 8-point differential between the third and fourth place slot. And looking at this leaderboard, it really gets me excited because I hope NA East comes down to the wire like Middle East did.
Yeah, I hope it's that close as well. And, there's some other big names on this front page. Second, you see Suranio, who's the duo FNCS champion, and then last season champion of Wagner, iExport Pro, and Dexy Fornite. These guys were the champs last season. They were coming back, trying to defend their title. And you know what? A 5th place slot? Very, very commendable. People who manage to get multiple titles in a row, incredible top tier players. But you cannot put that effort down of teams who get first and then a top 5. Like, that is an achievement in itself.
Yeah, something to know here. The first place team there ended on 332 points, and then our 9th place team has 165 points, which means that our first place team literally did more than double at what the 9th place team did. So very, very well done by them. They definitely deserved it.
Absolutely. And, these teams, sometimes you might look at this and say, is this a reflection of what we're going to see on NA East here today? And honestly, you can't tell. These games can be super close. They can be really far apart. Honestly, it's so difficult to tell based on looking at any other leaderboard just because of the sheer depth of the talent and the fact that there's 12 games. But if we want to look over to who we have predicted to win our tournament
the predictions.
Today.
This is the best bit. This is the best bit.
Yeah, so I went ahead and predicted Bucky, Kanata, and Macwood. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. If I wish I could have 2 predictions here because I have Clicks, Booga, and Bizzle equally, have an equal winning chance as Bucka, Kanata, and Macwood because I think that the RPG is being contested today, which we know Zay is laying in there. So I don't think RPG is going to play a big role in dominating height. So I think teams that have a recent history of going for height and doing well in there will be the ones that win, which is why I went ahead and picked Bucky, Kanata, and Macwood.
Yeah, and Monster D-Face has gone with DJ Ages and Skittles. These guys have been super, super consistent throughout basically all of the weeks and through their heats as well. Absolutely a top team. And, kind of like Vivid said, it's tough for anyone to pick a top 5. Me and Ozzy have both gone with Scented Edgy and Commandment. They're uncontested. Seems like going into Misty Meadows right now. And, we're talking about consistent teams. These guys are the kings of consistency. Maybe not picking up those victory royales, but they're going to be in there picking up so many eliminations, fragging out game after game. And, one of the things that we should allude to here too is I feel like this is one of the hardest decisions we've had to make. Like, I feel you kind of mentioned there's a top 5 teams you could put into your prediction. I was looking at teams who possibly might place 15th, and I'm looking at their team, and I'm like, you know what? These guys could win. These guys could win.
Well, what I love is the fact as well, chaps, is that you've got all different opinions here on who you think is going to go the distance here. The predictions all vary. In the EU regions, we had kind of similarity. This is all completely different now, so anyone could have predicted this correctly. One thing we did do though in the EU broadcast, which I think was a really important thing to share as well, was about other teams that may not necessarily have made it into our top predictions, but are still worth shouting about as well, who could really go far in this competition. I'd love to know if you guys have any teams that you think are still very capable of making it into those top spots.
I could name any team in the lobby right now, but honestly, I'm thinking the biggest one we're going to go for after the heats is Acorn, Slacks, and Jack. Coming out the heats, they had 279 points in their heat, absolutely wiped the floor with everyone else who was in that lobby. Incredible performance. The highest heat scoring of any region at all, and on one of the most competitive regions as well. Incredible performance. They're definitely looking strong, and if they carry that in today, they could be a fight to reckon with.
Yeah, and to wrap back around to the predictions, because I want to talk about that a little bit more, actually. Commandment, Scented, and Edgy will be facing the Exit trio on the low ground today, which is AV, Rogue Shark, and Knight. Now, these teams, as anybody knows who watches scrims or anything like that, or has seen past competitions, the low ground battle between these two trios is always one to look out for. And the reason why I went with, a prediction that was focused on a higher ground team is because we haven't seen AV and his trio versus Scented trio in a very long time, and I think that not being in that environment a very long time might catch Scented trio off guard because they might, experience a little bit more pressure on that low ground from a trio that is very, very good, which is why I didn't go for them. But I still do think that Scented and them have an edge on AV's trio, so I do think that they'll end up placing better.
Yeah, and there's actually a little bit something I want to add to that as well, because you picked on a good point of contrasting playstyles, you know? Low grounds can be interesting because not only are there those two the teams there, Illust's team also plays a huge role in playing low ground. In their heat in particular, they were popping off on low ground over and over again. So at this point, potentially we're going to have 3 teams looking to contest over and over. And I know if I'm going to put my money on someone, and I did, because my prediction was Commandment Sent and Edgy, it's going to be those guys.
I thought what was really interesting actually is looking at the Middle Eastern standings, as you said, like between first and second place and third place there was almost 80 points difference between those teams. So this is the great thing. We saw this with the EU, and I know we're going to see it here as well. Is that every single game with the way that the point structure, with eliminations and with standings as well. Each and every game, we're going to see the entire table flip-flop. People are going to, whether it's the high ground plays, the low ground plays, the more elims, the more VRs. We don't know what's going to happen, but I think we can guarantee that things that happen in the very first game or two are certainly going to change down the line.
Yeah, and we saw that on EU. We saw that with Stompy's trio on EU, where they performed big victory royale and they seemed hot out the gate in game 2 as well, but slowly started to go down. And there's going to be teams who are just going to have those big pop-off games, but over a 12-game span, a big pop-off game isn't going to be enough. You're going to need good big pop-off games, but you can't be slacking in those other games as well. So there are going to be teams that we're going to look at here today who are going to need to be consistent in every single game. Maybe a couple they can throw it if they really want to take that first place slot.
Yeah, and I hope these trios are ready today for the Storm Surge problem that we know we've seen some trios face in the past. Because Storm Surge, if it catches you off one game, that could really, really put just a train wreck in between that consistency that you were just talking about. So they really got to make sure that they find the best Storm Surge strategies possible, and I hope that these trios came prepared.
Me too. I think we can agree as well, chaps. Reese, experience is going to go a long way here, being in this position right now.
Yeah, I know. Hugely, and these teams are all very experienced.
Me too. I think so. We've got 2 very experienced casts as well waiting in the wings. My guys, Aussie, MDF, they are going to bring the energy, they are going to bring the hype, they are going to absolutely blow our minds. I cannot wait to see what Game 1 has in store. NA East, over to you, chaps. Take it away.
It's here. We're right now about to be delivering the big stage finals action for NA East, and I cannot wait to jump into things because, Ozzy, honestly, our predictions were phenomenal. They were great, but they weren't enough. Let's be honest. How could we realistically pick only 4 teams when you look at the roster of players on NA East?
Yeah, it's so difficult as well. Like, it almost feels embarrassing looking at the leaderboard and thinking, like, who did we forget off this list? Because any of them could take it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's not that we forgot anyone. It's just, where do we begin, right? We're talking about each and every heat that individually had their own stackers. Like, let's take a look at it. Slacks, Acorn, and Jack come out first place, rocking things in their heat, like literally breaking, record numbers as far as how high they put up. And then, of course, let's talk about Clix, Booga, and Bizu, because in particular, Clix has been one of the hottest players lately in recent times, taking his own crowns, right? Taking championship first places. What do you think about this trio here?
I mean, it's really hard. It is astounding the caliber that we have in NA East, that we have a team that won their qualifying week and then won their heat, and they're still not on our prediction list. I think that's because a lot of us know that Clix has had a tumultuous history when it comes to grand finals specifically. He's always come in really, really hot with fantastic teams, and it hasn't quite clicked. I'd love to see him break that trend here today, but that's why I didn't pick him. Maybe I'm speaking for the analysts, and that could be potentially what they're leaning towards. But again, it just shows the caliber of the gameplay here today, and it's going to be all about consistency, Monster. And I think that's what even scares me with my pick a little bit with Centered's team. It is about teams that play consistent, but it's really that top 3 big consistency. That's where we know the points are. Like we've seen in the other regions, we saw OCE last night, top 5s and around top 10 really doesn't cut it. It does come down to the victory royales and the top 3 with eliminations on top. So it really is anyone's game.
Then, of course, it wouldn't be a final stage. We wouldn't be setting it up properly if we did not talk about the reboot round and how Zayt, Saf, and Stretch pulled off a ridiculous run to actually qualify themselves in. When we were talking about who we're going to see in these final stages, we were talking about it wouldn't be a Grands without them. For them to not qualify out of their heats and then put it all in the reboot round, it couldn't have been a more legendary way for them to go ahead and solidify their stay here. It was the talk of the weekend, the biggest game we've probably ever seen, and one of the largest victory royales of the year.
I mean, that was the reason why the reboot round is what it is, right? That's why it was created. That's what it was for, was to give people that chance who somehow just missed the mark or slipped up when it came to their qualifiers to be able to have that legendary game. And who better than Zayt, Saf, and Stretch? I mean, you could convince me they deliberately did it. That is a team that is just pretty much dominance in its purest form, right? Like, that came down to you need to win this game. They won it with, I'm going to say, all three still alive at the end. I know Zayt just went down, but it wasn't just a win. It was a convincing win. It went down to the heal off, but Stretch, I think, still had 100 to 200 health left, so they convincingly won that reboot round. And yeah, what a team to win it. For the story, phenomenal. And you could potentially make them your pick for a top 4. Like, you could argue to pick them to win here this weekend when we've looked statistically, reboot round players never have that big performances though.
But there's no more time to waste here, guys. Game number 1 for the FNCS Finals is beginning right here, right now. It is time
we'll just press a button as we go, you know.
It is 2 days of competition, 12 big games of Fortnite in front of us, and we have a lopsided bus here. It's favoring the eastern portion, so again, off the gate here, some players are going to have a small advantage over the others.
Yeah, when you talk about off the gate, there's 2 things that I'm looking at. Misty Meadows is contested. Now, that is a massive, massive upset that we did not expect. Scented Edgy Commandment have had this on lockdown the entire time. The color of those arrows are very similar on the south side, but don't let that fool you. Misty Meadows does have 2 teams, as we also see that it's looking like Hydro Dam is uncontested. Now, that is absolutely massive for Zayt's team. They were supposed to be contested coming into this, but I see Steamy Stacks. There it is. The observers hear me building it up. We have Chap's team going up against Bully's team at Steamy Stacks. This is going to be a blow for blow, head-to-head grudge match all weekend. I don't think either of these teams are going to leave, Monster.
No, this is a fight that's going to go down for the rest of the afternoon, the day, tomorrow, today. This is going to be the big fight, and trust, guys, there's a lot of rivalry. This is a heated one between the two. Off the gate here, though, Threats looks like he's going to be the first to go down, and this is big. This is really big for Bully's team.
This is really big for Bully's team, and I mean, Chap has seen himself in this situation time and time again. I still feel like I give the crown to Chap, having one of the most legendary off-spawn feuds against Tfue back in the Grotto days. Right now, Bully goes down, so right now, I think it is a 1v3, though. Osp is putting out some damage as well. Bully's very, very weak, but Frist and Osp are looking so healthy here, and I think we only have 1 player remaining on Chap's team, unless they did capitalize. No, they managed to jump back inside here. We're going to try and jump back into the factories. On the backside, it is just Chap holding everything down, and Bully gets the shakedown, so they know exactly where he is. Chap can't fight it off, and unfortunately, one of our competitive veterans is going to go down in game number 1. And like we said, Monster, it does not matter how this goes. I could see one of these teams going 11-0 across the weekend. They still won't leave.
Yep, that's it. That's it right there. And oh man, what a heartbreaking defeat there to get dropped in the first 30 seconds with the zone favoring, again, with the bus favoring that side. So everyone had that good drop, that instant drop down. Here's Zayt, Stretch, and Saf. Coming into the reboot round, they switched up their drop. They came back to the old trusty RPG Hydro Dam split drop, and they found success. In the heats, though, I think it's important to mention they were not doing that good. But hold up, we have a more important fight right now. Scented and Edgy Commandment here. This is your pick.
Yeah, and I was talking about how Hydro Dam is now uncontested. It was supposed to be contested by this team. Predator's team were very vocal about how they were going to be going Hydro Dam. Looks like I thought maybe they dropped off. They didn't want to go up against too difficult of a team, but apparently not, because they have dropped on Scented Edgy Commandment. I think what they've tried to do is go for that Western Misty split monster, get those houses, get a few of the loot, and then try to get out. Scented Edgy Commandment aren't having any of that. This is their drop spot. They've owned it, not just this season, but for seasons now. They've been dropping here for so long as a trio. They don't want to give up any of the loot because they know they need it to win. But this is a very risky, very big engagement we often don't see from this team.
Yeah, we don't see them fight early game, not like this. There's not a lot of squads that will actually, have the guts to challenge this squad in such an early game fight. But they're taking it, and it's still a very important one. NA East in particular is a region that takes their time, right? Storm Surge, right? These tags, we haven't even really gotten into the thick of it, but we know that activity is going to be very important. And for these battles right here, this could actually be a godsend for them.
Yeah, at the same time, it's a 12-game format. We've talked about that. So making statements early is really important. In a 6-game format, you think you've got to play every game to your absolute maximum. You need maximum points. And in the 12-game format, that is true in a sense as well. But right now, we see the new signing of FaZe, Centered, NRG, Edgy, and Commandment. They're trying to make a statement against this team monster. They really want to say, hey, we've got 11 games ahead of us. If you drop here, we are not going to make it easy for you. They're really trying to condition this drop and make this team reconsider dropping here, maybe for the rest of their game. So I like this strategy from them, but honestly though, Monster, it is going to have a big impact on this first game as their loot is looking nothing like we used to see.
Yeah, I'm more concerned, though, with Nut and Zypher there looking into this build. Twexy, of course, sweeping their way around the outskirts. They're trying to keep a low profile right now to see if they can, you know, again, jump in, maybe take advantage of the chaos. Scented, Edgy, and Commandment are doing a good job keeping the walls up. They want to commit to the fight, but I think they're being super hesitant because of the trio that's up across the wall there. Down low, though, Hunt and Predator, listen, they don't have builds. When we see that quick glimpse into their loot path, it was not looking too hot. They're going to try to get the vehicle and get on out, and this is where two trios now are going to be putting the shots in because they all have angles, and this might just spell disaster for them.
There it is. It's going to definitely spell disaster for Hunt because he missed the ride. He didn't get in the vehicle. He's hiding behind the bush. He's got nothing. He is down there. Predator has to try and sacrifice Hunt there to get away as a duo. I mean, rough situation. Those are the kind of calls you never want to have to make as a team, but unfortunately, Hunt is on the backside of that, and I believe it's because they did take potentially the truck, which only does have 2 seats. So either it was a 2-seater vehicle or Hunt didn't have time to get in. Either way, though, stuck between Scented, Edgy, Commandment, Zypher, Nut, and Twexy is never really going to end fantastically. So we do see Edgy, Scented, Commandment make it out of their drop. But like I was just saying, the loot actually is surprisingly good. Never mind. They're not looking too bad. I hope they got some decent Storm Surge out of that, though, because they do have first zone. So they're not going to be able to try and find those teams on edge unless they want to rotate out of the center of their drop to go towards the edge of the map, which I just don't see happening. But man, what a crazy start already, Monster, to a 12-game format across the finals this weekend. We have Chap's team out, we have Centered teams contested, and we have Zate's team uncontested. They are the reboot round winners. That is not normally the team that is the scariest on the map, that no one wants to drop on, but again, they've got the absolute competitive pedigree.
Yeah, definitely. We saw Scented right there do something really important. He took a little glimpse down to the Hydro Dam, so that information grab to see where Zate's team is rotating out. Again, all these little things matter. Scented is a very methodical player. He is one of the best if you want to learn high-level competitive action. Not just mechanically. It's not just that he can keep up with the pros. It's that he knows how to play the game on a strategy level. Here's XMB, Leo, and Ved, all of which I think are also broadcasting their perspective. So there's a lot of trios. There's a lot of new teams, I guess you could say, jumping into the fold. You know, new kids on the block trying to show up and make big waves here. Ved, XMB, and Leo are definitely on the cusp, right? They're on those... They're one of those bubble squads I'd say on the pop-off recent times.
Yeah, definitely. You talked about it perfectly. We don't like to call a lot of these guys kids. Me and Monster on the older side of things. I think most of these players are younger than us. I think all of them are younger than us, except for maybe Chap.
Yes.
But at the same time, XMB, Ved, and Leo are one of the youngest trios here today. Normally, you have one of the players on the team is usually on that older side. Like you said, with Centered, they're usually the smart IGL. But XMB, honestly, for his age, shows so much maturity when it comes to gameplay. He does so much research, puts in so much time, keeps the emotions of the team in check to make sure they're performing as best they can. And I have really high hopes for that team. I would love nothing more to see the young team pop off here today. As we see, we kind of flip into a team that, you know, is definitely not a bubble team, a team that you 100% have heard of. We have Sentinels, Booger, we have NRG, Clicks, and FaZe Bizzle. I talked about in the pre-show, this is a team that has come in on a massive hot streak, Monster, but they always kind of come unstuck in the grand finals. Not so much Booger, but usually Clicks. I want to see them pull it off here today. I would love to see Clicks show up big in a grand final. It's the last thing he needs for his competitive career, I feel like.
For sure. Like if you had to put a tag, a title on this team here, you call them the hashtag dream team. Like this is a superstar roster. It's a lineup of just incredible individuals, all of which individually have their own major feats, right? And we can obviously go through it. We can list off the number of different things that each of these guys have contributed to the Fortnite community. But most importantly, they're still at the top of their game. For Bizzle, this is a big situation. It's a big deal. I feel like this has been the resurgence of Bizzle back on the comp scene, right? Because he's done well. He has never not done well. It's just like he's been fizzling out. But for Bizzle in recent times, pairing up with Clicks and Booga here, I feel like they've really brought out the best in him. And now we're just seeing a superstar trio just play phenomenally well as well.
Yeah, I think it was unfortunate for Biz as well. He was known as the LAN King, right? Where he was the one who was winning so many massive LAN events. You've seen all those massive games from the olden days, and he didn't fizzle out. He was still performing well, but it's hard to back that up. When you're placing top 3 or winning multiple LANs back-to-back, having these huge performances, there is almost no way to maintain that hype, and I feel like that's the same towards Bugha as well. When you win the World Cup Solos event, you really can't go up from there, but they've all been so consistent. We see Nut here. I love this. Flexing the champion pickaxe. But that's what this weekend is on offer as well. Whichever trio managed to walk away as the final championship will take out that FNCS champion pickaxe. And it's so beautiful. It's like the epitome of the flex monster, but you love to see it.
Yeah, definitely. Got to pull it out for the big stage. That's just one of the few things that's on the line here, outside of course, the big prize money and, you know, the how do I say, you know, the clout, all right? Let's be honest here. I mean, everyone wants to win the championship.
Of course, and that's interesting. I didn't even think about that. We have 2 champions here because we have Reverse Day and Miro, our PC FNCS Trio Grand Finals champions last season, managing to win that up and pick up the pickaxe. But we also then have Twexy and Nut, so they performed incredibly well there, as you just saw the pickaxe there, because they came off the console track. So we've had players who've come off console. I don't know if we have anyone else here who's won FNCSs in previous history as well, but I don't know if any other regions had that. One player who's won console FNCS coming back onto the PC track, and then we also have the PC champions here in the grand final as well. I don't know. We'll have to see if we can get that one, but that is an incredible feat to see, as we haven't even seen Reverse Day and Miro. I know they've switched it up to an uncontested Dirty Docks monster. I have very high hopes for them as well. And again, it shows the caliber of today's games. None of us even picked the ex-FNCS champions who were on a hot streak as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. And even now, looking at the XSET trio, this was, again, a trio that in the last season we all kept our eyes out on. We wanted to see them do well, and they were doing exceptional, right? I think their low ground king title have been snatched up this season. But hold up. Talking about the ex-FNCS champions, here they are. Phenomenal low ground players, phenomenal mid ground players. They take the battles, and they win the battles in endgame. And that's what separates this trio from many of the others.
And this is what I like to see here as well. My biggest concern for this team coming out of Dirty Docks was going to be their Storm Surge. It is a drop that notoriously is quite difficult for Surge because you're right on the edge of the map. And with snipes like that out of reverse, you can see why they are 413 above. So if they're making Dirty Docks work with opposite map rotates and their Storm Surges in check, Monster, this is a fantastic sign for this team, as they do have 1 elimination on the board for Day. So interesting to see. I wonder where they managed to pick up that one, but that is a massive start for this team.
Yeah, not only that, I mean, listen, I follow all of our community on social media, you included, of course. You was just talking about you need someone who can hit those sniper shots. Oh, yeah. If you can land them, they're just so good, right? Having a reliable, trustable source on your team is just the clutch factor.
It is, yeah, I was talking about it, definitely. I posted it on social media. I honestly think right now having a good sniper in your team is essential for getting top 3 in these FNCS finals. You talk about Dirty Docks and getting your Storm Surge out of Dirty Docks. Obviously, the team that's probably done the best really in any region popularizing that drop is Thomas HD's team going Dirty Docks on EU, and we know how proficient Thomas HD is with that sniper, and that is a good part of that team's success. It's how they get their Storm Surge and how they manage it, as Zate's got a different strategy in mind, using that RPG out of the Hydra Dam, phasing it through the wall onto Narwhal, Zlem, and Crunchy. Again, another very underrated younger team who performed phenomenally in their heat, and I want to see them do big things here today as well, but they're under serious pressure from the champs.
Yeah, it's crazy because they were just under the Storm Surge, but that one little cheeky fire at the wall, sneak in the RPG play, allows them to get comfortable here, and now they're up above. Take a look at the quick stat here. The team today collectively have 187 FNCS Finals appearances. And just to put it into perspective, guys, this is in comparison, like think about it, EU's FNCS Finals had 167, so we're a fair margin above that as far as how many people have been consistently showing up again and again, round after round for these big stage tournaments.
Yeah, and you talk about this team as well. Stretch he's kind of in that realm of his own where he has made every single FNCS finals ever. It came down to the reboot round for him to hold on to that legacy, and he managed to do it. We had players like Calculator, who unfortunately up until now had that legacy as well, but fell just short in that reboot round. But we have Bizzle, Clicks, and Bugha potentially falling short here in game number 1. They're 112 below. There is a lot of teams around them. They have a lot of shield to out-heal this one, Monster. But again, we talked about it, whether it's just grand final jitters, whether it's the nerves, but this team, something's come unstuck here right in game number 1 as Booga
no.
goes off the builds. He tries to build and he can't catch himself. This is a player who has shown up on literally the biggest stage in the world, the World Cup champion solo winner, and he's fallen short here. This is very scary to see if you're a fan of Clix, Booga, or Bizzle, which I'm sure a lot of people are.
Wait, but like this can still work out, maybe, sort of, because he gets more HP for the Storm Surge to tackle because he was down. So long as he doesn't get finished off, he might be able to come back, but I can't think that was the strategy. Of course it wasn't. It was definitely a blunder. It was a mistake here, and now these guys are going to fall, guys, to the Storm Surge. There's no way to get around it. They did not do enough damage. The preparation just wasn't quite there. The hottest team, the biggest team, the most consistent coming into this is down in game 1.
Again, 12-game format. They've got 11 games to bring it back. You got to make sure, you got to keep the mental in check. Got to make sure you don't tilt now. Stay focused. Stay on top of it. Figure out what went wrong, because clearly, like we say all the time, Monster, if you're down on Surge, something went wrong. It was something with your preparation and your gameplay. Yes, it comes down to a few good AR tags, a few good snipes, but really, it's preparation. It's where you set up, it's where you hold players, and it's how you go for your fights. So, very unfortunate to see from that team, but I just saw this team as well. I'm not sure who it was, Frist, Bully, or Osp. I saw one of them actually get a knock onto G2's newest signing, Macwood, in the feed. Don't know if they did capitalize. They managed to finish that one off. They have 4 eliminations. So they've taken down Chap's whole team now, and they've taken down Macwood, one of the favorites here this weekend. So, man, things are off to a very hot start.
Yeah, and Edgy just wipes up a full trio in the feed as well. You know, just casually sweeps up his surge and everything that he needs. I saw Skittles in there lighting things up. DJen and Agers, keep an eye out on these guys. They always fly under the radar. They pop up big in those end games. They pop up big. They're the sleeper team that you don't really realize is winning the tournament behind the scenes. And then they just pop up, right? They just spring up. Same like Bully and Osphere. They've had those same exact occurrences in recent times, but I feel like now we've been keeping a closer eye on them, so we're not letting them, we're not letting them slip away, not unnoticed, at least not in this finals.
Man, this panning map shot is looking so good right now. So we're going to see what all the teams are set up. I just saw Avery, Illist, and Creo, like the stalwarts on the mountain, just giant bases taking up a huge area of mass. We have Nut, Twexy, and Zypher making their rotate, and there it is, Jack, Acorn, and Slacks. One of the most consistent teams coming into it this weekend. And again, I'm the one always arguing they just don't get enough credit for how phenomenally they are performing right now. With Cash Cups being unregion locked, I know Acorn specifically, one day last week, he played the Trio Cash Cup in EU, came 6th, then played the NA East Cash Cup and came 1st, then played the NA West Cash Cup and played 6th. That is like 9 hours of competitive Fortnite in a row on 3 of the biggest regions and showed up on all of them. So they really aren't getting the credit they deserve, and I would love to see a big performance this weekend to really cement that team as one of the names on NA East that no one can dispute are the best.
Yeah, definitely. They haven't missed a beat. Here's a look at Reverse 2K, Miro, Day on Team Endless now trying to make this push in, and it looks like they're hot on the heels of a trio. It's Zayt, Saf, and Stretch that they're harassing on the rotate in, and they're probably looking to recycle their builds. That's kind of why teams put the pressure when they're on the heels of another trio. It's so that they can do the building for them. It's so that they can save material coming in. Looking at Reverse's build situation right now, 36 mats means that he does not have a lot to work with. They would be happy to be able to refarm this, but look, he notices there's a player inside the box. It's looking really, really bad right now for the FNCS champs.
Things aren't looking fantastic. We see how Dirty Dogs, they had their Storm Surge, they had everything they needed, they had the loadout, but right now they're on the low ground in the full metal base, so bit of coverage here, but 31 builds to Reverse, not looking too fantastic, but I mean, they've got the fighting power. This is a team that can try to wipe up a full trio. You saw Centered somehow do it in the feed. Centered, Edgy, Commandment did it. Maybe we need Day, Reverse, and Miro. Remember, Centered, Edgy, Commandment were our 2nd place last trio FNCS, so they need to show a big here to hold on to that one. These two teams are going to be duking it out to see who's still got it, because they both stayed together. Almost every other major notable team other than Zayt, Saf, and Stretch and a few others did split up and reform, so they've got some, pressure to perform here again.
A lot of pressure to work with. Take a look at this rotate right now. A gutsy, a risky one to get in the middle. Trying to get away from the outer edge here just to get a little bit of distance between themselves. Zayt, Stretch, and Saf already poising themselves up just a little bit here. Here comes the markers to come out. I have to assume half in, half out. Probably been popped here, and everyone knows where they're going to have to rotate now. It's Illist and Creo who have a little bit of the high ground to play with. Where is Avery? Are they a man down is the true question right now. And no, Avery is still in here, but 58 damage below. They are underneath the surge threshold.
This is what I talked about. They were like stalwarts on the mound. They built these big bases. Look how far away Avery is. He's in the distance now. And you think with those big bases, with those big sidelines, they'd have the big damage, but they're only 45 above. They are kind of feathering this line right now as Illis is looking everywhere, trying to find these tags. I'm sure Avery is as well. Looks like Avery's getting a few tags off there as well, jumping a little bit above. Jamper goes down in the feed here. So right now, things aren't looking fantastic for Illis, Avery, and Creo. But if they can survive this storm surge, if they can get their damage, but they need to get it soon, Monster. They have to start rotating. They need to make their way in, but they're scared to do so until they get their damage up.
Yeah, they were trying to get that perfect time, and it looks like it's going to work out. Creo's going to go out and get in first, and now Avery is on the move. 50 damage above those. Remember, it's not enough. That's not enough. He's going to have to continue to get active. There it is. It's going back and forth, and now the ticks are going to start coming in, but the shots are good, and now they get comfortable. They're going to pick up an elimination here, and it looks like it's going to be just enough to go on and get a refresher as well. Take a look at the loot. It's from Illis's impact elimination. That is definitely an impact when you're able to, again, effectively set your entire team up now for the end game. We could be looking at our potential game 1 winners here in the final stage.
Yeah, they're setting up on that lower mid ground. We obviously had the analysts break it down at the start. We have a few big names that are looking to go down into what you call the Crips, Monster, where you really do pick up those frags, you go big or you go home. Illis is one of those teams as we then get a beautiful pan around to our kings of the high ground. Zate, Sap, and Stretch are set up. We're going to have 4 seconds until we see that zone show. Do they get first rotating zone? Because that would be monumental for this team. And unfortunately, they do not, but that doesn't spell too much disaster. They're marking the direction it goes. They're figuring out what's happening. They've got the bounces, and there they are. They're going to bounce onto front side. They're going to be proactive. This team does this a lot. You see Stretch and Saf go to the front side. They start building up in hard match to reestablish that high ground. Zate's going to hang back. He's going to get those big tags, the big damage. He's got that RPG in hand. Now that metal is starting to full build. He's going to bounce to the front side, and they have high ground again. This is going to be insane, Monster. We've seen this team show up, I think, in 2 weeks in a row, potentially 3. They got the game opening victory royale last FNCS. I would be so unsurprised to see them do it here again today.
And it's not just that. It's like they do it tournament after tournament. I think they have a track record of taking home the game 1 victory royale. It's almost like everyone else is nervous for the big stage, but they're here. They take advantage of everyone else's passiveness, and they literally become champs. And there it is. He's going to find some great tags that might lead to a free elim right there. We'll find out here shortly, and yes, it is. Stretch is going to go on and clean things up. This is a perfect situation. Not a lot of material picked up, but it is more than what they had before. Look at it. They're struggling right now mat-wise, so the harpoon is going to be more important now more than ever.
Yeah, they're going to have to find a refresh. If they can find those rockets as well that you talked about just before, you broke it down, the impact elimination, that's what we need to see this team have. They need to find the material, they need to find the rockets, they need to find what they need to make it to the end game, because they're dealing with teams like this. Centered Edgy Commandment, who don't have that dominant high ground position, but they're down here in the mid ground. They've already got 3 eliminations on the board for Edgy, proving that he is the fragger of this trio, despite how fantastic all of them are at fighting. They're now on front side, and this is where they set up the low ground. What a beautiful bounce pad, Monster. They get to front side, they claim all these builds, they build these massive open tarps, shotguns come out, and now they're going to stick hip to hip. You will not see this team go more than 1 or 2 boxes away from each other, and if anyone tries to push into this low ground, they're going to be ready for them.
Chimp is still alive too. Teo's still alive. Tabney's still alive. That's a full trio on the low ground. A dark horse to take this away. These kids pop off in these end games. Bully, Friss, and Off. Full trio still up. On high ground though, we have a back and forth. Tahi, Gabe, and Sprite. They have done it again. These guys are kings at snatching them high, and it's always in zone number 7. How do they do it? They have a formula for success, and we have now seen Stretch, Zate, and Saf have to give it up. They don't have materials. They have now thrown away their high ground hold. As look at this. This is such a clutch situation now. They're going to have to struggle and fight their way back into this one.
Gabe, Tahi, and Sprite took it late. We saw this happen a lot during the qualifiers, Monster. We saw this happen to Zate's team particularly. It was at the hands of your team, DGen Ages Skittles, but today it's Gabe, Tahi, Sprite. You talked about teams coming out here nervous. Gabe, Tahi, Sprite are a team that are not on too many people's radars, but they should be. Game 1, when everyone's feeling nervous, everyone's trying to feel out the water, they show up big. They take high ground from the high ground kings to push out this victory out, and Center's on the low ground. The big tag comes out. Osp goes down. Center has fallen, but Edgy and Commandment are still up. They can get these finishes. They can get this loot.
No.
The shakedown. No. Edgy gets the shakedown, but it's okay. They've cleared out the low ground, but he falls straight into the hole. Edgy, how are you still alive? It doesn't last much longer. It's all on the backs of Commandment, and he doesn't exactly have the loot to do it, Monster. 5 builds, 4 teams alive, 7 players. I have to think Gabe, Tahi, and Sprite on the high ground have this advantage.
Yeah, they definitely have the advantage, but still top 3 is so important right now. This is a make or break situation right now for someone like Commandment who is operating by himself. And you know what? He's got his work cut out for him. It's trio on trio action, and he's only got, 2 options. It's up or down. With the mats, he can't go up, so he's got to come on down. And let's see it here. He's going to try and play the zone here to see if he can steal away some of that placement, but it doesn't last very long. He rotates right into Twexy. Twexy's on the other side. If he can catch Twexy, that will be enough for him, but no, Commandment goes down first there.
Gabe, Tahi, and Sprite, you see that beautiful RPG from Sprite right now. These players have to step out. We get the knock on to Creo, and there it is, Gabe, Tahi, and Sprite with the game #1 victory out, 9 eliminations monster. They came out of nowhere.
They came out of nowhere. That was a phenomenal game. And look, Ozzy, let's talk about it real quick before we toss it over. High ground steal. What?
The high ground steal, again, off the high ground kings. If you can do it to them, you can do it to anyone. Zayd's team took it early. They held it. We talked about the material. They didn't get that refresh, so when Gabe, Tahi, and Sprite showed up, they didn't have what they needed to fight them off, and they fall. It just shows the confidence of Gabe's team coming into it, and I absolutely love to see it.
Like, listen, we didn't expect that game 1 to slip out of the fingertips of Zayt, Saf, and Stretch when they had it. We were talking about the history of how often they've been able to win it in those situations. But you know what? It's just a start. This is finals, baby. Let's toss it over to the desk real quick.
Yeah, huge shout out to Ozzy and MDF there, bringing so much hype to that end game. That was incredible. I mean, we saw it. Zayt, Saf, and Stretch there. High ground, we all thought it was going to happen, but suddenly it flipped. Sprite and Co took it in the end. Great start to NAE.
Absolutely great start, and it's kind of similar we've seen a lot of times of Gabe, Tahi, and Sprite. In their earlier qualifier weeks, they were really struggling. They were just trying to go for high ground a lot, and it really wasn't working out for them. There was one game in particular where they took high ground for the entire moving zones around Sweaty Sands area. They ended up 4th with 2 eliminations and just really didn't capitalize on the amount of points out of it at all. In the semifinals, they completely fixed that, and they were really, really good. And now, coming out game 1, so strong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good for them to managing, taking the high ground from Zayt, Saf, and Stretch. We are a little surprised, though, because Zayt, Saf, and Stretch did actually have that landing spot, contentions here today. And one of them that we can talk about here is that Misty Meadows. Now, Edgy, Scented, and Commandment have been landing Misty Meadows for a very long time. Duos, trios, you name it, they've been here. And they are actually being contested today by Predator, Hunt, and Equit. And I'm going to be honest with you, Reese, I don't see this going over well for Predator and Trio.
No, they rotated out. They tried to get away from Commandment City Edgy, and unfortunately ended up getting third party from Nuts team as well. So we've seen, again, another spot that we were looking at, which didn't end up going too well for them, was Clicks, Booga, and Bizzle coming out of Sweaty Sands. This is their home drop spot. Qualifier 1 they placed first. In their heat they placed first as well. But in this first game, ended up really struggling with Storm Surge a little bit.
Yeah, and our previous FNCS Trio champions, the ones that have the Axe, Reverse, Miro, and Day, they're landing Dirty Dogs. They are uncontested here. And let me tell you, these guys have kind of flown under your radar, but we've talked a lot about the higher ground contention, the lower ground contention. Something that we haven't talked about is that middle ground. They love to play that middle ground and find those eliminations in those middle ground tarps. And I think if they don't get a lot of contested there, they'll have a really good chance at winning.
Yeah, and a team that most of the teams we talked about, really, and we thought would have this interesting draw spot, didn't end up performing too well in that first game. Slacks, Jacks, and Acorn ended up going down in 10th with 0 eliminations. So, you know what? All the teams we mentioned there, we were thinking these guys are going to be the top teams coming out. And overall, of course, the course of the day, and tomorrow as well, definitely may be. However, right now, interesting, a little bit of a shake-up. Those top teams not performing as good.
I love the music track there. I was having a great time. It was very 80s. I like putting some spandex on, having a bit of a boogie. Very naughty little number. I loved it. Big shout out to the team. Let's take a closer look at the way things currently stand here, because, as we said, points, everything's to play for here, and we'll have a look at the table now and see exactly how things are.
Looking at that top leaderboard, no surprise. Gabe, Tahi, and Sprite picking up that big victory royale, 30 points for the victory royale. 9 eliminations, which is really, really good for them in particular, getting those 48 points in one game. We talked at the top of the show about Creo, Illis, and Avery as well. We were talking and we're saying, hey, maybe this will be the third low ground team. And it seemed like Commandment sent the Edgy on the first of that second moving zone. They got ahead. They were in their prime position that they're normally used to, but just didn't capitalize on the eliminations, managing to fill them up with their loot to keep them going. And Illis' team took over that low ground spot because of it and ended up placing second in that game.
Yeah, congrats to Sentence team though for being contested +1 and still managing to grab a 4th place on the leaderboard there. So good on them. And then another team that was actually contested was Bully, Osp, and Frisk there. And we were talking about the Storm Surge a little bit, and these contentions, they might actually be helping these trios through these early games because, they get that Storm Surge early on in the game, and they can make these rotates that aren't necessarily based around getting these long-range tags for those Storm Surge.
Yeah, and 11th place right now, Zaitsaf and Stretch. These guys looked so good coming into that moving zones. They were on high ground when we had that panning wide camera. Oh, who surprises on height? Zaitsaf and Stretch. But unfortunately, they seem to have committed a little bit too much to that high ground because they didn't have anything left. They didn't have ammo so they could get a refresh. They didn't have materials so they could fight for height. So it was a relatively easy height take for Gabe, Tahi, and Sprite to take it off of them. And you know what? They have the most first game wins across this FNCS than any team in any region, and it looked like they were going to continue that today, but unfortunately just didn't manage to pick up that victory out and went down a little bit too early.
Yeah, and it's promising because they did find themselves on that high ground in that half zone, but they were in a little bit of a weird position before that, so they had to spend some mats and everything to go ahead and get up to that high ground spot where they actually at. And like you said, they actually spend a lot of their resources to get there, but I'm sure if they fix up their little mistakes like that, they can come out and have a huge impact on the way high ground plays out today.
Yeah, I mean, there's still so much time to play as well. I mean, we're only one game in. There's still 11 left. I mean, we're going to see changes. I mean, it may not have worked out for Zaitsaf and Stretch that time around, but give it time. Give it time. I can see it happening. We're going into Game 2 very shortly. What are you hoping to... Well, I think we're going to jump straight to the casters, actually, if they're ready to rock and roll. Aussie, MTF. Boys, I'm excited. I know you are too. Give it some oomph. Let's jump in.
Open up these doors and get right into game number 2. Don't worry, Adam Savage. We'll leave some space on the battle bus here. Hop on in with us. We'll take you for this ride right here. It's Monster and Oz. We're calling the action here for finals, man. We saw an explosive game number 1. Way to kick things off today.
I mean, absolutely explosive game number 1. We saw the big names we were talking about. We saw a few big names fall early, and we saw the new up-and-comers show up on top. So all the storylines are there. And I mean, I'm still looking at some drop spots that, like we said, are going to keep going blow for blow. We have Chap's team going up against Frisk's team again, and the analysts are breaking it down there. If a few things go a little bit differently, if Chap's team survives, if Center's team maybe doesn't get contested, gets a bit better loot, everything changes. The story can change so fast in NA East with such a high caliber of players available, as we're now tuning into another drop spot, Caddy Corners, which is being contested, and it's our first place team. Sprite is down right now. This is down to Gabe and Tahi to try to hold off the team of Cod Genesis, Pendush, and Voil, and this is a team that's been going Caddy Corners for a very long time. Cod Genesis is the absolute Caddy Corners veteran. Tahi missing the snipes, and that's all he's got, Monster. They are shambles. This is our first place team, and things are looking terrible.
Oh my gosh, and there's another team coming down from the weather station as well. It's going to be all or nothing right here. He's really going to have to do something phenomenal, and I don't know if they're going to have enough. There it is, 2 players now down. Gabe's down, Sprite's down. He does hit a headshot snipe, though. Hold up. I think he opens up. Oh, never mind. That I was about to say, dude. What? But, all right. Yeah, it's not looking too good, man. This is rough. This is rough for him to be in.
It's a rough one to be in. Now, I honestly think Tahi was going for that because I honestly feel like Tahi knows it back against the wall. I don't think he's got anything to work with here. I think that was pretty much like an emotional dig at the team, trying to take down Kit, which would take out that team's ability to go for the upgrades. And unfortunately, Gabe, Tahi, and Sprite fall here. That was our first place team, and they're out here on spawn, 0 points. But it's not over here at Caddy Corners yet. Cod Genesis is taken down. We have Noob Adrian pushing in, and we have a few other players from that weather station high ground trying to push into this fight. And man, what is it about Caddy Corners, Monster? We've seen this on NA East back day after day, week after week, month after month. Usually it's Calazo's team, which was going head-to-head with Cod Genesis's old team. Cod Genesis broke that team apart with Qua and Shades, reformed with Pandush and Voil, but looks like they're back to his old ways.
Yeah, man. Listen, that's the thing, though. These guys are going to fight it out. We already talked about how they want to take battles, and sometimes once they pick and choose those fights, there's just no ending until it's all over. Same way like this drop spot right here, right between Frisk, Bully, and Osp. This time around, though, it looks like both sides are respecting the distance. Look at this. Chaps trio playing the main, playing the heart of Steamy Stacks, where Bully, Osp, and Frisk playing the backside. I like that they're taking their time now. I think Chaps got a little taste of what can go down here, and having a rough game 1. Way to check their game 2, and you know what? Maybe split the drop and then move on.
I don't think there's any chance these teams split the drop and move on, Monster. I love it. I love the optimism. I would hope for that as well because I want to see both these teams do well, but this is a grudge match, and Chap really finds himself in these grudge matches a lot. Like I said, going way back to the Grotto days against Tfue, Chap has been in some of these most legendary spawn fights. Actually, never mind. They took their loot, and maybe they're trying to get away. Okay, Chap, I don't want to say in his older age. Like I said, I think he's the oldest pro here competing today. Maybe the maturity stepping in. Maybe he doesn't want to have that emotional storm fight, but he's pinned between another team now. I mean, think about even defend the farm, right, Monster? Every notable NAE spawn fight that people remember for seasons, and Chap's always at the heart of it.
Yeah, but listen, you're talking about the team that was wiped out first, like seconds after they touched down. There's no way. It doesn't matter how much pride, how much, heart you have at the drop. I think playing smarter means more for Chap right now. And you know what? He's got a lot to prove, right? Being as, again, back out there, I'd say in the world of comp and really just trying to find his footing here, possibly find a home to really ride with. Chap's got to put up these big performances, man, and stay relevant in this space, in my opinion.
Yeah, he is one of the most consistent performers in Grand Finals. He picks up new teams, new underrated players, and then puts them on the biggest stage and really does show them the ropes. And Dukes, Threats, and Chap are one of the most improved teams that I've seen this season. At the start, things weren't looking too fantastic. It was a new team. Chap was trying to lead Threats and Dukes. They were kind of newer to this high level of competitive play. They've been around before, don't get me wrong, but Dukes being most notable as a creative warrior, having insane mechanics. Chap was trying to lead that, but I feel like Chap really hit the books. This team has been grinding. They've been VOD reviewing. Chap's been hitting creative on himself, working on those mechanics. So I really want to see them put it all together and show it off here today, but the loot disadvantage right now is massively against the Monster. I'm looking at Bully with lots of spare shield, shotgun, AR, SMG. I'm pretty sure when we tuned in with Chap, he didn't even have a shotgun and he had no extra shield.
Yeah, and that's the thing, playing passive, only playing for the one kind of, again, the big main building here does cut them off from the rest of the loot, that entire circular outer area of the Steamy stack there. They gave it all away and not including the coastal loot, right? So it all does make a big difference. It starts to add up, and you can see that's the difference here. Chap's going to get tagged a few times. These are small advantages they're giving away to Bully's team. Dukes takes a 1v1 up against Osto. That's a great way to kick this off. Now we're seeing it become a little bit closer here for the drop fight.
And they need this right now. They need Dukes to go big or go home because look at this loot disadvantage. Now we get to see that Frist is also carrying. He's got the pistol, the shotgun. He's got massive shields. Dukes goes down. That's the firepower they needed. It's on Chap and Threats here, and things are not looking good. I have to imagine unless they can do something massive, this is going to go 2-0 to Frist team. But things aren't over yet. It looks like they've got this big base. They've run out of mats entirely on Threats, though. The gray tactical shotgun, when that's all you have to fight back with, it's going to go very difficult here. Bully goes around the corner. Big shot onto Bully, though. They're not going down without a fight. Honestly, I'm so impressed with how hard Chap is fighting this one, but they're backed into a corner. I think that's 2 players down now. I think it might just be Chap that's still standing. It is. He's disengaged. He's going to try and hit the hills, but we know they're going for the shakedown. They know he's on top of the house, and it's going to be one of the most monumental performances in history for him to win this, Monster.
Yeah, for sure. But I don't know. I think just judging by how Bully and them are taking their time here, I was going to say maybe they're going to give him a little second just to get away to kind of keep things interesting. But no, they're not. Instead, Chap's going to have to take this fight here, and it's not looking too hot. He's on the run there. It is. First finds him once again. Little spray with the laugh. That's the GG right there. Respect to both sides. It was a well-fought battle, but just not strong enough for the veteran Chap, Duke, and Threats there as they fall. Again, one of the first teams getting wiped out here.
So unfortunate here. We have Tabnade, Chimp, and Teo, though. 3 new players, 3 up-and-comers. You talked about, Monster. You called them out in the qualifying weeks, in the heats. They are the grinders of the scene. They really have been putting in the work, been putting in the hours into all the practice, the solo spotlights, everything they can get their hands on to try and improve as players. And I'm hoping it shows here today. With 30 points on the board, game 1, that's a fantastic start from this team. They're in a great spot now for Storm Surge. You love to see it because when those new up-and-comers put in the hours, they put in the practice, quite often the grand final, the big stage, that's where the pressure hits, and that's where things usually crumble. I don't know if they played in the grand finals in the past, but with the finals on the line here today, I mean, they're looking fantastic.
Listen, and again, if you follow these kids on social media, you'll see, he was talking about, they were very openly admitting to the fact, hey, listen, we're nervous coming into this. This is a big deal. It's a big situation for them. Not everyone's got that ice blood, veins of cold and steel, right? Like, everyone's in a different place mentally. Everyone has a lot different things riding on the line, and for them, this is their first taste of major competitive action. Big stage action, big pressure, right? And for other trios like Commandment, Edgy, and Scented that have been here before. They've seen this, right? They've tasted that first place multiple times. It's a lot different.
It's a lot different here. And I mean, at the same time as well, we talk about the pressure, right? What it can mean for these different players. The money on the line, Monster. The first time we've seen FNCS where all the prize money goes into the finals. Nothing for the heats, nothing for the qualifiers. It is all about today and tomorrow. 12 games to change your life. We have the lion's share of over $500,000 on the line. $500,000, Monster. That is truly life-changing money. So you know the pressure's got to be there, and some players handle it differently.
Yeah, definitely. You know, listen, we all say like the true competitors are the ones that you play to be the best, but the sweet cash doesn't hurt either, right? It just doesn't. But here it is, Jack, Acorn, and Slacks ready to raise the sea levels, raise the tide here. They're gonna have to do more. 10 points is good. It's an okay way to kick things off. That's the equivalent of 5 eliminations in this format, but 5 eliminations is not going to cut it. You need the big placements. They need to continue to make those end games. We saw what happened when you take first, second, and third. That's where the big points are. That's where the story has been. That's what we've been pumping this entire time.
And I mean, look at this stat here as well. Acorn had 32 eliminations on his own in heats, most of any NA East player. We talked about how they set a global point record in their heat, and obviously a big part of that being Acorn's ability to pick up big eliminations. I would actually argue that Acorn, phenomenal fighter, but Jack is the player in this team that I think is one of the most underrated fighters in NA. But just with that kind of a pedigree, with Acorn's stats there, you can't argue that he is up there as well. This team is phenomenal, and they get zoned both times inside Slurpee, and they have Avery, Slacks, and Illas pushing in on them. Not entirely sure what this team is doing here with this fight, but they get the capitalization. There it is, 2 eliminations on the Jack as I'm hyping him up as the big firepower in this team. And now they're looking fantastic in game number 2.
Yeah, that's a way to kick it off right there. Again, 2 elims, right? You get to sit on all that loot. You get to get the Storm Surge. And judging by the builds on the brick base here up top, it seems like Zone might be favoring them one more time. We saw them have Zone a few times there in the heats when we were covering some of the actions leading into this whole thing, and they were looking like they were playing it well, textbook style. Right on the other side, though, now we're looking at Zayt, Saf, and Stretch. The fact that they're also basing up this early means this is, again, another southern zone. So a lot of favoritism here. The zone's kind of playing to their area. Actually, it's going to cut a little more north than what I thought it was going to be, but either which way, this is a good spot to be in.
And it's showing the fact they've put in the hours, they've put in the time, because Zayt, Saf, and Stretch are in the exact same spot on the exact same hill, really setting up for these big surge tags. They have a game plan. When you talk about how Storm Surge is all about having a game plan and playing it to perfection, that's what this team does. But they're 105 below, never mind, a 98 above now as well. So we see that Edgy gets knocked in the feed as well. Only 3 teams have gone down. So when this surge goes active, 17 players at this point are going to have to go down to get below that 70 threshold. And that's where all the action is going to happen right now. So 68 above, though, that's not going to hold. They need at least a few more assault rifle or a big snipe tag to close this one out. Last game we saw was the back of an RPG phasing through the builds just like that, as now we have Centered, Commandment, and Edgy, but Edgy's been taken out, fighting Zypher and Twexy as Nut has gone down. The big 2v2, and this is huge between 2 titans of the scene right now. And I guess this is that fight over near the Misty Meadows Mountains. We have Zypher's team pushing down from the mountains, Centered's team starting inside Misty, but they get wiped out. My pick to win it here, Reese's pick to win it. They had a good game 1, but they're sitting out game 2 halfway through, 0 placements on the board, and I think maybe 1 elimination, if that.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how this all unfolded here. Zypher, Twexy, and Nut, we saw them playing that mountain before. They had big eyes onto Scented and company as they're rotating out of Misty, taking that fight up against Predator and his trio in commit to the battle. The difference, the results, not one that we expected.
Here we have Day, Miro, and Reverse going head-to-head now of Lazar, Kaz, and Riversun. That's a team we haven't really talked about too much. Riversun's team's been, very up and down in the qualifying weeks. They've been contesting Creo's team at Lazy Lakes. Things haven't really gone their way on the spawn fight. They made the smart decision to leave that. They're now dropping uncontested Hunter's Haven. So I want to see what that team can do, because I think they're ones to upset. I don't know whether they can pull out the Victory Royale. I hope to see them prove me wrong, but I think a top 5 finish there is very, very high potential if they know how to make Hunter's Haven play. But they're going up against the wrong team to try and get their Storm Surge on right now. And Daymir and Reverse, only 15 above. They need it just as badly as well. So maybe they're on the receiving end of Daymir and Reverse's aggression, because they want their Storm Surge. And we know this team knows how to fight. Day and Miro are by far 2 of the scariest fighters at NA. If they take these fights, they win them 9 times out of 10.
Pay close attention. You're looking at 2 really exceptional teams going toe-to-toe right now. Kaz, underrated. definitely underrated. But listen, paired up against Reverse 2K Day and Miro, once Miro gets going, he doesn't stop. He's a full kind of all-in or nothing type player, so pay attention. You're probably going to see him dive in soon. And it's actually Reverse who's taking a full-on box fight as Day's looking for the side angle, and now they're setting up. It's that classic pinch right here. Reverse doing a good job, good movement. It is just a tit for tat, right? They're going back and forth, but look at the HP difference. Riverson, Kaz, and Lazar is actually on the losing end right now.
Watching high-level competitive Fortnite battles like this, it's a thing of beauty. The angles, the edited cone, the half-edited wall, the way they edit everything is so deliberate to give those angles and give them that protection as well. And you talk about underrated for Kaz. People forget, I was talking about Stretch's competitive pedigree, having played in every single FNCS finals in the past. Kaz has as well. People really seem to forget that he is a big name in NA East. He's just always that sleeper player who shows up, performs really consistently, but hasn't had a huge performance in a while. And I'd love to see that from them as Clicks, Bizzle, and Booger are putting down the pressure onto Dusky's team here, who looks like they were below the Storm Surge, as Bizzle, Booger, and Clicks are 1,000 above. Game one, they're like, hey, we went down to Storm Surge, let's fix that. How about we be 1,000 above instead? It's way better.
Yeah, I'm going to need these guys to take a nice deep breath and slow their roll a little bit here because, hey, we get it. Change the strategy. Get ready for game 2, right? Fix your mistakes. That's what champions do. But they are way over the limit now. And, oh, no, as I start talking about slowing down there, Biz will get sniped on the rotate. Not much you can do about that. But, again, it is going to just set them back a little bit, especially considering they were taking a storm fight. Here's a look at Train H Saf. Zay on the other side here, where Tabney, Teo, and Chimp are based up just underneath them. They've gotten closer now to Zay and company, who's up above. And yup, I see you reacting. That's the feed, right?
That's the feed. Day, Miro, and Reverse get the full wipe onto Lazar's team, so they are completely out of that. Kaz, Riversan is sitting out game number 2. Our FNCS champs are here to play, and they get a full trio wipe. The fight started with needing a little bit of Storm Surge, and they walked away with what I imagine is a lot, because unless they went through a lot of meds in that fight, they're going to capitalize onto all of Riversan's team's meds as well. They're going to have all their Storm Surge. They're in a big, full heavy metal base back there. They're going to look fantastic to have a big game in game number 2, because a little bit quiet in game number 1, so I'm really excited to see them show up here.
I am concerned, though, for Chimp now, who's got no shield here. Wondering if he's going back and forth between the teammates to see if they can drop something, but it might just be Teo and Tabney are strapped for cash here. Not much to play with. On the outskirts, though, there goes that young team right there. X and B, Ved and Leo trying to make the rotate on in. Saf's got eyes on him if he's peeking outside the cone. Everyone's got to be hyper cautious right now. This is where players get punished big time on the movements right here. So it is going to be a matter of taking your time, playing smart. Another team we didn't see much of in game number 1, Degen, Azers, and Skittles. So remember what I said. These guys are sleepers. They come up. They wake up out of nowhere. They're the ones that'll stay just outside the conversation and then pop in, right? Just all of a sudden, big performances.
And that was what their game number 1 was. It was a 3-elim 12th place, 23 minutes alive monster, and 39 seconds. A game closes out in 25 minutes. So that extra minute and a half is the difference between getting a 10th place right now on the leaderboard and getting a 1st place. So they really were up there. They just fell short at the very, very end, as Macwood, Kanata, and Bucky, one of the big favorites to do massive things here this weekend, are on the donut, on the 0 points. But look at the loadout. They have everything they need to have a massive game here. They are now high ground on the edge of 4th zone, which means they have that prestigious half 5th zone potential. And how interesting does Weeping look right now, Monster? Normally I was going to start telling the story of, you got Weeping rotates where you've got the tree cover and no, it's all been farmed out. There is the trees on this edge, but if you pan back towards Misty, it is barren, it is desolate, it is a wasteland, as you can see right now. I'm going to guess maybe that was with some of the fireflies being used to burn down the trees, some teams opting to open up those sight lines. This is a forest normally right here, but there is nothing as these teams try to bulldoze their way through to get to the next zone.
Yeah, good point there, right? Especially when tags mean everything. Storm Surge, big finals games, like, that's why teams do it. That's why people condition the terrain, condition to drop. Just watch it right now. Ooh. Oh, no, the side peek. And someone was just a lot faster on the draw there as Twexy gets bodied. Luckily, the AR fire doesn't come in, and he does manage to see another day at the moment. But 3 eliminations for this team here. They're doing so well. You'd hate to see them get taken out now. They're below the Surge, too, here, Ozzy.
And that's it. That's the aggressiveness of 3 eliminations for Twex. He's been taking those peaks. They're 200 below. Let that sink in for you guys at home. Remember, Storm Surge is a threshold of who's done the least amount of damage in the lobby. They are 200 below with 3 eliminations on the board. That is the caliber of players you are looking at here on the NA East standings right now for finals, because, man, they're showing up huge as we have another team, Tabnade, Teo, and Chimp, on only 62 below as well, so they need their damage. You talked about it. Chimp is not looking great. Storm Surge is ticking. They don't even have the meds. They need this damage or they are going to go down, and I have to think our underrated Grinders monster, they're going to be sitting out game number 2 just short of the placements as we have 20 teams alive, and I don't think they're going to make it much longer.
No, they're not, and there it is. They get wiped up, and honestly, Tabnade delivers all the loot. How kind, straight into Twexi's hands. Twexi now at 6 eliminations, where they were just shambles like a couple moments ago, like playing out the gutters there with barely anything to work with. All of a sudden now, they get the delivery of all of this loot. That's going to be the beautiful refresher for them, and to rotate on in, as you see the lobby start to focus in on that back half. Zayt, Saf, and Stretcher not looking good. They're looking pretty worse right now for where, as Frist and company are up high. They can see everything. They're targeting those back half teams.
And normally, I instantly count out any team that's being contested on the drop in any major region, NA East, EU, pretty much any region, to be honest. But Frisk, Bully, and Osmo was one of those teams that being contested by Chav in their qualifying week were able to qualify. As Zayt, Saf, and Stretch are having a rough rotate, and I think they are completely out of this one now. Zayt, Saf, and Stretch had their big high ground game 1. They lost it, and game number 2, they don't even get to the half to go for high ground. I also want to see how Kanata, Makudun, and Bucky got pushed out of this high ground by Bully's team, because they were right there. They had the zone advantage. So Frisk, Bully, and Os, whatever they've done to get up here, they did it well.
Yeah, they're fighting their way for sure. I'm looking at 6 eliminations right now in this trio. Talk about big numbers for the midpoint of the game right now. And we have the top placing teams already hurt and or out the game. So again, this leaderboard's going to shake up already just based off of who we've seen go down. And guys, if you're just tuning in, this is game number 2. Things are just getting started here for the finals day.
Yeah, Bully, Frist, and Osprey now in a fantastic position. They get first rotating zone. They came into this game in 6th place, and unless they do something massive to throw this one, I have to think we might see a team contested going into top 3 after game number 2. But we saw last game, Zayt, Saf, and Stretch, one of the most experienced teams on high ground, lost it out at this point. But you'll notice the difference in the loot monster. They have so many more materials. They have that harpoon. They're in a better position. They didn't force the high ground. They got given it in such a dominant fashion, as we have Zypher, Twexi, and Nut pushing through here, breaking these builds, trying to find their way into an old top. They're 99 below. Can they get through and find their damage? There's got to be someone lurking in here, because they need to find that damage. 53 above, and there it is. The player was caught off guard. They didn't hear it from behind. There's so much happening at endgame. The gunfire, the movement, the builds. They did not know an entire trio was lurking in their top. Now the duo does, and they don't like Twexi, Nut, and Zypher being here. They're going to try and push them out, but they got their damage. They got their refresh, and now they're beautiful to play their own layer and their own top. Fantastic play.
Yeah, and now 7 eliminations as well, and here it is. We're approaching that Zone 6. This is the full push right now. Zone 7 is going to come out, and that means that it's never going to stop from here on onwards. DJ's going to light up Osp in the feed. High ground, getting contested. I saw DJ and Aegis and Skittles right underneath them, and it looks like they're probably taking a stab up to the top. But on the low ground, these guys are working it. Twexi's going to find Aspect. Aspect who lands Salty Towers. You know they're going to be a little bit salty getting taken out here early in the end game before the top 10.
And we talk about the low ground kings. Zypher, Twexi, and Nut have not been in that conversation at all, but I think they're making themselves there. They have done so well to find themselves a way back into this game. You have Twexi and Nut, who took a little bit of a break, went to the console track, like we talked about, FNCS champion on the console track, have come back here to play on PC, and man, they are dominating right now. 7 eliminations for Twexi. We're just following this player because he is the one creating all the action, has that big, epic tactical shotgun, taking over the tarps as well, going to front side, trying to cut these teams off. They have been doing their research, and I love to see Zypher back on top. He's a player that really notably did not enjoy solos. He's not liking playing solos. He loves leading players. He loves leading the team, and that's why his value goes up massively, not just when it's a trio FNCS, but when you hit the final stage, when everything matters. He keeps the team together, and look how fantastic of a position he's put them in, Monster.
Yeah, not only that, Bizzle, DJ, and Agers, they all clashed on the low ground up against COD Genesis as well. It was a three-way affair down here, and it's not looking good. Twexy, he's been here before. He's put up these numbers, and now he's doing it again, except he's doing it on the stage that matters the most, the FNCS stage, the biggest stage in the world. And now it is time to continue to close out here. We're looking at 21 players alive as we're getting into this last zone. That's a lot of gamers here. Like, there's still so much points on the board.
And I'm seeing Polarized light up the feed. I'm seeing COD Genesis light up the feed. There's big names in here as Twexy. Player comes on the backside of the top. I think that's a solo. If they can maybe find that player, it'll be a big elimination, but they need that top 3. The big placement as Nut goes down, but Twexy makes it 8 eliminations now. He is pushing for double digits as himself right now. We have 1 on Zypher as well, but Twexy is still up. He is feeling confident. His mechanics are clearly on point here today, and he's looking to try and close this one out from the mid ground. And this red's going to be scary. Mid ground has the eliminations, but do you get that top 3, and do you potentially push for that victory out? Because the teams on high ground, they're not burning through their mats, they're not running into risky players like this, but honestly, it's just coming down to sheer mechanics right now. They're just breaking their way through tarp after tarp as Twexy falls, and Zypher has to close this one out as a solo. He needs that top 3. His eyes are on that top 3, but he has no builds and next to nothing to work with. As we have Narwhal, Crunchy on the high ground. I don't see Zlem, but they're in a good spot to try and take this victory out.
And somehow Acorn, Jack, and Slacks are also in the game. Agers alive as a solo on the layer right in between them. Agers might be the definitive factor for that mid-ground team to go on and swing this thing around here. But Zypher, no material. This is intense for him to be in here. Remember, for every team that falls is worth so much placement points. And let's not talk about breaking into that top 3. The finish line is almost there. Can you just stretch it out? Here's the real question. Here's a fight that matters so much. And no, he gets dived on and now scratched out of the lobby.
You talked about the finish line is there. We've had the jog. We've had everyone set up, but now is the sprint finish. Who is going to sprint through this lobby? As Slacks is a full trio, goes down to being a solo now. Slacks is trying to do big things on the mid ground. Mars is still in this clashing reverse 2K on the backside. That's 3 teams alive, 4 players, and it goes over to reverse 2K, Day and Miro. Our ex-FNCS champions is capitalized with a big RPG shot, and that is a huge, I think that was 12 elimination victory out, Monster. That's a huge jump up.
Yeah, that was 12 elims right there, but the low ground is where they were playing it as well. I talked about the clash with Booga, Bizzle, and DJ that came down. I don't know how COD Genesis was all in the mix, but it was just a messy fight on the outer edge. Reverse 2K, Miro, Day walk away with that fight in there, and then they end up closing out in the end.
And they managed to do it with a big mid-game fight against Riversun's team, taking out a massive full trio in dominant fashion, gives you the loot to close out the game.
Yes, definitely. But listen, we're going to toss it on over. We'll find out more because there's so much to take away from this.
There certainly is, fellas. It was absolutely epic. I think we saw right there. You know, big shout out to Twexy as well with the dropping the A-bomb there kind of towards endgame. Ridiculous. But 12 eliminations. That is a serious amount of points. And another incredible game of Fortnite, which ends just superbly for us watching at home.
Yeah, you know, we saw their huge pop-off there, but one of the things that we kind of didn't see was any of the teams who were performing that really top 3 slot in Game 1. You know, the teams have really changed up, and after that Game 1, we had Gabe, Tahi, and Sprite in that first place slot. You know, they picked up that Game 1 victory royale, but then they ended up being contested in Catty Corner in Game 2. So this is our Team 1 winners. We see Sprite, unfortunately not landing on a weapon and getting beamed up by COD Genesis, who's made that smart play to land on the gun instead, despite the fact they had the same drop.
Yeah, coming out like a contestant caddy corner like this is very tough because there's not a lot of loot to grab, so it ends up into these like really awkward positions where you're kind of fighting for the same loot as the enemy trio, and there's not a lot of stuff around you to grab, so it's kind of like a full-on commit. And if you don't get something good, as you can see, Tahi here has a bolt action sniper, and he's going to get chased down by 3 people who have just assault rifles and everything, so it's going to be a tough fight.
Yeah, and one of the other issues of this drop spot is the fact that the team from Weather Station pushes in, and that's exactly what we saw picking up Tahi. But you know what? COD Genesis has played this before. He knows exactly how this goes down. He knows where to angle that sniper and how to hit those massive shots. So coming out, they already got 3 eliminations off the rip there. So, our Game 1 winners, a Game 1 second place team, and third place team all didn't show up in Game 2 here. So the leaderboards are definitely about to be completely flipped up on its head.
I can't wait to see the standings and see how things lie now, because obviously with Sprite and co winning that very first game, suddenly going out pretty much straight away in Game 2, they're going to drop down considerably. I want to know how this affects them, mindset-wise as well. it'd be great to see what's happening in Game 3. But let's take a look at the standings as it is right now and who is top of the leaderboard. Let's have a look here. I've got a feeling I know exactly who it is.
It is Day, Miro, and Reverse, your ex-FNCS champions. Well, I shouldn't say ex. Our reigning FNCS champions from last season. You know, there's a lot of weight on these guys' shoulders. We knew that there was a lot of pressure going into EUs with Tayson. You know, he's won over and over, and he said to Levin, and Levin repeated to us that he's feeling the pressure, and I'm sure Day, Miro, and Reverse are feeling the exact same thing. You know, there's a lot of pressure to perform 2 in a row, and particularly when this team has stuck together as well throughout the entire time. Unlike a lot of other trios have changed up, you know, that expectation is going to be even worse.
And a trio that we're seeing climb up the leaderboard here at Slacks, Acorn, and Jack, who has been a favorite, who's been a talking point in every single qualifying week and in their heat and semifinals. And, you know, it's great to see them finally start to climb up the leaderboards here. They're going to round out their 6th place slot with 46 points and 12 eliminations. So if they keep that pace up, they're going to do really, really good this FNCS.
Yeah, and, you know, there was like 4 or 5 teams that last game who took pretty much all the eliminations, which was pretty nuts to see. You know, we saw Day's team have 12. We saw also Slack's team have 12 as well, but, you know, teams are going unnoticed. You know, we saw Crumble, Nexi, and Mars with 8 eliminations. We saw Zypha, Nut, and Twexy pop off big time as well. But on top of that, remember we watched COD Genesis there in our little package, who at the beginning of the game had 6 eliminations running in, and you can see them now in that 14th place slot. So they had a really, really good game in terms of their eliminations, but overall, you know, only sitting in that 14th slot so far. They just need to get into that end game and hat those top placements like some of these other big teams are capable of.
Yeah, Zay, Saf, and Stretcher in the 19th slot. They were in the 11th place slot after that Game 1 mishap, and, you know, they're dropping down on the leaderboard there. But I tell you what, them going down there, you know, they ended up losing that RPG, but Reverse's team ended up, you know, grabbing it somewhere along during that game, and they ended up using it, turning it into a victory royale of their own.
Yeah, and, you know, a team we wouldn't expect to see in 21st right now. You know, Bucky, Kanada, and Makud. Team who have been able to perform consistently. You know, they come really, really strong in that first qualifier, performing extremely well, taking the first place, not first place slot, but performing very, very well and in their heat as well. After that, you know, first 2 games have been tough for them. I know the next 10, you know, there's still a lot to go. There's 4 today, there's 6 tomorrow. We know these guys can clutch that up, but a bit of a slow start from some of our top teams today.
Yeah, I mean, we saw right there, you know, Zayt, Saf, Booga, Bizzle, they're all like kind of 19th, 25th, but there's a chance always to turn things around. Game 3 could be that very chance. Let's head over to NBF and to Aussie. Take it away, chaps.
Guys have it. There's no time to waste here. Game number 3, and my gosh, I say when you're having fun, time flies. And that's what it feels like right here on the big stage, because we're already jumping off this battle bus one more time, Aussie.
We're jumping on the battle bus one more time, and we just saw it there. Reverse 2K Dayamira did something they couldn't do in their last legendary FNCS final victory run. They got the victory out. They were the most consistent team across 12 games without a win on the board, and they do it in game number 2. What a way to come out and make a statement that you are not just relevant, you are very much still in this, as I see Misty Meadows uncontested, but I see Hydro Dam contested.
Yeah, Hydro Dam all of a sudden has some company there. I do wonder what is shaking up down at the Hydro Dam. That's where Zayt, Saf, and Stretch land. And, you know, it could be any trio. Another spot that's being contested as well, Salty Towers. I think we have an Aspect up against NPen and their trio over there. So there's action happening everywhere. But we're going to touch down first with the previous FNCS champions, last season's champions here, Reverse 2K, Miro, and Dave. You said it well. You just told us. And look at that. It was actually Hunt. Zayt's down. Equins finds Stretch 2. Oh, that was Predator and company. They moved out of Misty to fight Zayt's crew.
It's going back and forward right now, so I think it is. They moved out of Misty. I talked about it coming into today. They were very vocal about how they were going to be going the Hydro Dam, and it looks like they don't want to drop on Sentin's team anymore. Looking fantastic for my pick. We've seen what Sentin can do with uncontested Misty, but also means that's going to be a team that is going to change the narrative this weekend. Where they drop and who they fight is going to change up things massively, as we see Dave, Miro, and Reverse having a great way of kind of split dirty dogs. They're doing fantastically. Normally when you have a new team go a new drop, especially when they won the last FNCS without a major POI, now doing it with one of arguably the strongest drops on the map, but a new drop that I didn't think they had the experience at. They're playing it fantastically. They've consistently played 2 good games, but with very similar zones, Monster. I want to see if maybe we get a North zone. Maybe if they get a zone like it looks like they almost have, how will things change up?
Yeah, we know historically as well, when that zone mixes up, it throws off the game plan just a little bit. Usually it affects teams more that aren't contested, though, so I don't think it's going to be too much of an effect, at least on this team here, which is Bully, Osman, Frisk. But, you know, we've seen this fight, and it seems like in the last game, Chap and them tried to back off. Now they're playing the interior. They don't want to put their back to the big main.
It's pretty hard to do consistently well out of a contested drop, and Bully and Frisk right now are in top 5. They kind of fell short last game. We saw them on that high ground. They had it on half-half. Looked like they were going to take it into first rotating, and then your boys DGen, Age, and Skittles clearly had something to say about that. But Chap going for a similar strategy here with Threats and Dukes, going to, you know, base up inside one of these major factories, try and take it to a box fight, try and hold it out. They are 2-0 on the spawn fights right now. They are on the receiving end of a couple of losses, but they can maybe bring it back now. But things are going to start to get really personal soon. If Chap slips more and more down the leaderboard, I know him as a player. I know his stance on these kind of things. He's going to want to make a statement. He's not going to leave to try and save his tournament. He's going to stay to try and save his pride.
Oh, look at this quick stat. Chap and Zeta, the only players that have placed top 10 every FNCS finals they have played. That is massive. And man, again, the history, right? The history for someone like Zate, but Zate now has his work cut out for him because he is being contested. That 50-50 on the draw spot is going to make it that much more harder for someone like him to make it out of a 2-day format. And again, you talked about how Chap will, you know, stick to his guns, play the draw, play the fight. He won't back out of it. So does Zate. Right, and although it's a 2-day format, although they know what's in front of them, you know, we got to assume that the story's already going to play out. They're going to take the fight.
I mean, they're from the same kind of friend group. They're from the same competitive pedigree. They've been around since the skirmish days. They have a very similar outlook on these kind of things. The reason why they are such a scary team and they have so much respect on their name when it comes to their drop spots is because they never leave. Even Chap managed to pull out that top 10 in squad FNCS when he was contested by Arab. We had the whole defend the farm. It was 2 teams going head to head. The old school Liquid boys, one of the last times we got to see a lot of the Liquid guys play together. And man, it was a little bit bittersweet because they were contested. Bunch of drama, but man, the action was intense, and it looks like we're in for another day of that here today because, again, like I said, I know Chap isn't going to leave, but Crumble, Nexi, and Mars, we talk about teams kind of, you know, just going under the radar. They're in 3rd place right now. Haven't really talked too much about them. I've talked a lot in the qualifiers and the heats coming up to this. We have Mars, a player that just practices differently. We talk about preparation. He does his own kind of preparation, right, Monster? Doesn't play scrims, but my man is absolutely grinding arena.
Yeah, and not only that, the way he applies it to the game, like when it comes down to Fortnite competitive, he just plays for the win, quite literally. It's nothing more than that. Just trying to be optimal. And you know what? It would not surprise me to see him or a team like that just walk away with a victory royale or 2 before this weekend's over, because that's their main priority. That's their only goal. And if you're doing a slow and steady push like that, you're going to make your way up the top. This is the opposite end right here. This is not slow and steady. This is Ops, Frisk, and Bully on the push right now, on the prowl.
I talked about it last game when we saw Reverse 2K go up against Riversan. It's so fun to watch these big fights break out when they have the piece control, they have the edits, they have the angles. They're trying to find that room to get shots in, to get them inside the box, to get big damage, but they don't want the returning fire. And the bigger the team game mode, trios and squads especially, you got to be careful. You got 3 people you have to keep eyes on as well as your 2 teammates. It's a lot to factor into this, especially with sniper rifles. In the meta, all it takes is 1 peek too many. You go a step too wide and Chap can get the big shot through, and that can turn the entire tide of this fight as they have zone and they're dragging this one out. This is definitely turning into a grudge match.
Yeah, and you know, we saw Twexy in the last game get punished by a big sniper shot just from stepping out, trying to return one of his own, and how quickly things can go downhill from there. Not many teams recover from a big shot like that, you know, coming into the mid game or the early game, but again, that's the devastating nature and power of a sniper shot. Let's see here, though. This is, again, just high-level Fortnite right now. They're going to continue to go back and forth until one side makes a mistake or another gets antsy and hops on in and does what we'd call a risky play, right? Just take the fight, take the all-in. First on the other side, looking for some side angles.
I think they have to. I'm looking there at Osp. He has no AR ammo. He's down to, I think, 18 mini bullets in the SMG. I think they have to get into this one. They're going to have to open this fight up very, very quickly, as Dukes right now has the massive ammo advantage. I don't exactly know how this one went down. I know there was a llama we didn't spot or something, but either way, Dukes, Chap, and Threats have the ammo advantage. They don't have the med advantage, but they're holding them off well right now. This is dragging out for a long time. You got to remember, the longer and longer this drags out, the worse it is for both teams. They're not even getting big Storm Surge tags on each other right now. They're not not getting their loot. They're not getting set up in zone. This is really an emotional battle to see who can win this fight, not who can win this game, as potentially we do see Bully's team disengage with what they have. They have more on the line right now. They're in a top 5 position. They have a chance to run for that top of the leaderboard. They want to disengage and try to play this game out. But like I said, chat, maybe feeling a bit emotional. He's down on the leaderboard. I think they're more inclined to just take this fight.
Yeah, we'll see, though. They do also hit that other steamy stack. And yeah, look, they're coming right on in. It's just parked up on top of them. That's the sign. That's the sign of the disrespect right there. Like, hey, we're going to fight. We're here to mess around. And they don't have a single point. It's like nothing to lose at this point. And you said it. It means more for us, Bully and Frisk, who are really having a good tournament so far. Of course, off the back of the 6 eliminations they picked up on this trio. But, hey, it's more than just that. It's making endgames.
Yeah, it's making end games, and it's making your reputation as well. You got to build up that reputation. We know about it. There's going to be 3 more trio FNCSs this year. You want to be known as a team that if you get into these fights, you're going to hold your own, and you're not going to make it easy for the team that drops on you. Otherwise, you become the easy target next FNCS, and that's what Chap's tried to do through so much of his career. But honestly, at this point, he's just always on the receiving end of teams wanting to contest them. Like I said, I can name almost every single FNCS where he's had a big notable team contesting him. So I talk about building reputations. Maybe it's just not worth it at this point. Maybe it's just not working because clearly the reputation isn't there. But just unfortunate choice of drop spot. Bully has been going here time after time, season after season. So we did see the Bully made I want to say a bit of a fake. He said he was going to go Coral Castle, was very vocal about that on social media. Everyone questioned it, and like we assumed, he came straight back to his home Steamy Stack.
Yeah, definitely. You know, playing a little bit of mind games, giving a little hope, and then to only snatch it off in game 1 with the, again, quick finish up here. This fight is going a little too long, a lot longer for my comfort now. Look at the loot situation. They're all of a sudden really off pace where they need to be as far as material goes. I'm hoping at this point both sides realize they should just farm up, you know, and try to move on. I think they're going to end up still fighting regardless of what, because Surge should be coming around the corner here soon, and you know, they didn't do a lot of tagging to one another. It was just build pressure. It was a lot of build pressure. Yeah, I didn't see much damage go over. I think the best I saw was a couple of AR tags in a row. When you think that's usually only around 60 damage, that is not what you need. We saw last game teams with 3 eliminations be below the Storm Surge threshold. So NA East really does push those Storm Surge numbers up and up. EU does as well, but NA East, these guys with the practice team, we've talked about it before. They versed each other so many times. They have drilled these games more than any other player in any other region, so they know how to get their Storm Surge tags, and it adds so much more pressure. When you only have to get 100 or 200 damage, 1 or 2 snipes, compared to having to get 400 to 500 to take you through to those rotating zones, the pressure is on to get this damage out right now. That's 44 crucial tags that Twexy needed, but I'm also scared of how high he's peaking right now. With snipers in the meta, his eyes were out there. Those were crazy tags right there, guys. That's their 2nd and 4th place team. In 4th place, Gabe, Tahi, and Sprite not looking too hot. On the other side, the dark horses of the competition, Teo, Chimp, and Tabney right now in a really peculiar situation, pinned up. Looks like they got beamed out of the vehicle here, have to pause and heal up. It's almost mirrored to the situation that happened before, where they burned through their material a little early trying to get their rotates on. In the last game, it was up against, Zate, Sap, and Stretch for tags. And yeah, I saw that. Twexy falls out the base. I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure that's what that had to be. I talked about how he was hanging his head a little bit high there. He was going for big sight lines, and I'm pretty sure he kind of lost his head a little bit because I was worried about a sniper shot. I think my man just fell off the Coliseum. It's easy to do. The way the builds are and the building grid in Coliseum, it is very awkward because those unbreakable walls hang over, and you have to kind of, I'm going to admit it, Monster. First day of Arena, I jumped in. I was like, look at this cool new drop spot. Look at me go. Tried to waterfall off the edge. I fell. I went down. It was solos. It was even more embarrassing. I did it on stream, but doing it in a final setting, it's a little bit scary, but I think they're going to get him back up. I think they're going to be okay, but man, if we get a replay on that, it'd be fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. We'll see if we can pick that one up in just a bit. Acorn, Slack, and Jax, though, have to pick up the action here, too. 127 damage below the Surge, and that's a real number right there. That's a real big threat for them. They do have a team down underneath them. You don't usually want to take the box fight first. That's like your last option. That's why you're seeing them really hustle around and try to look out into the distance to see who they can tag on the peaks here. But worst case scenario, they're going to come on down and take the fight there.
Depending on how we see with Acorn, Jack, and Slacks as well, I just noticed that Acorn was holding on to the rocket launcher with no elimination. So we saw that Zay was contested at Hydro Dam. I don't know how they could have managed to get the RPG without an elimination. And I really want to say Sharks, but with them dropping at Slurpee Swamps and now being on that far northeast section of the map, I don't know when they would have had time to do that. So it's going to be interesting to see. So they're now taking a fight with Divine's team, and they do have the RPG in the back pocket. So if you're looking at Jack, Acorn, and Slacks to have a huge game, this is the game to do it right now. They need to get above their Storm Surge, and that's going to do it. The big charge shotgun shot. Remember, the Storm Surge does count on downed opponents as well. That's why you go for those big tags on the downed opponent. They're now 200 above.
Wait, Mom, before you check out, do you have honey installed?
What's honey?
Fortnite World Cup final in front of thousands of live fans. $8 million has already been given away, and now we're coming down to the wire. Week 9 is the final opportunity for competitors to try and qualify for the solos competition. Who will join the likes of Dubs, Stompy, Tfue, and X2 Jordan on the stage in New York City? Who will be able to clutch up in their final moments, in their last fights, to earn one of the final 19 spots? And with the last 2 weeks on the horizon, we are increasing the weekly prize pool to $2 million. So, get on the battle bus and drop in. This is your last chance to name yourself among the best of the best and to build your way to a spot at the Fortnite World Cup final. What are you waiting for? The battle is building and you don't want to miss out. What's up, Fortnite fam? Sundown here, and today we're going to cover some of the basic terminology you should know when watching competitive Fortnite. If you're familiar with high-level gameplay, these should be commonplace and a nice little refresher. If you're a little newer, buckle in because you're about to learn up. Rotations. A rotation is the path a player or team takes to get from their current location to the next safe zone. Rotations cover not only the direction the players choose to path, but also the method they use to get there. A lot of different forms of utility enable rotations, including vehicles, rift-to-goes, building, shadow bombs, and glider redeploy. A player's ability to rotate effectively is key because this determines what type of engagements they'll be facing and whether or not they're at an advantage or disadvantage. Gatekeeping. Gatekeeping is when a player who is secure inside the safe zone puts pressure on an opponent who is forced to rotate because of the storm closing in on them. The gatekeeper is able to get uncontested shots onto the opponent, as they are forced to move due to not wanting to take damage from the storm. You will see a lot of top players utilize this in order to create opportunities to get eliminations and points. High ground advantage. High ground advantage is when you have a height advantage over your opponent and are looking down on them. Having the high ground enables you to have more access to information and easier ability to take and hit shots. You will frequently see players battling for high ground in all stages of the game, but in particular during the late game. The ultimate high ground is generally the player or team who controls the highest level during the final circles, and they have a number of advantages. They are typically the least threatened, can decide when to drop down and start taking fights, and also have great angles to punish opponents with AoE weapons or rifle fire. Low ground warrior. The next term is the opposite of the high ground. The The low ground warrior is the player looking to sweep along the ground floor, taking close quarter combat fights and forcing opponents to make the first move. This can also be efficient because it often doesn't require as many materials or as much of a risk to gain control of, but can also lead to being in a lot more chaotic of an environment. Backside of the storm. Speaking of chaotic environments, our next term is possibly the most perfect embodiment of this. The backside of the storm is when the safe zone is closing in towards a new one and the players are clustered in towards one edge. Generally, it is very high density of competitors, and you will find a lot of interactions, engagements, disengagements, and eliminations occurring at this point, particularly for those low ground warriors we just talked about. 1x1s. 1x1s are the most basic proponent of building in competitive Fortnite. This is when a player boxes themselves in using their own builds, making them safe from outside fire. This technique can be expanded on to allow for players to take control of a space around them, but it all starts with the 4 walls around you, then a floor plus ceiling that each have a pyramid on them. Tunneling. Tunneling is the first basic expansion of the 1x1s. Tunneling is when players create a tunnel out of their own builds in order to rotate safely. This is typically done by putting out floors and ceilings in either a straight or diagonal path, then covering your sides with walls as you advance. This allows players without utility to rotate for maximum safety. 90s. 90s are when players utilize vertical 90-degree rotational building in order to build upwards as fast as possible, while also remaining covered. This enables players to try and gain high ground advantage or outplay their opponent to get a quick, different angle. You'll frequently see them used in mid-game build fights or in endgame scenarios where players have to build up very quickly. This has been a quick rundown of the common competitive terms that are frequently used on broadcast. If there are any other terms you are unfamiliar with, let us know using the hashtag Fortnite World Cup and asking for an explanation. We hope this helps you level up, and we'll see you all on the battle bus.
Yo, 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 what up, Fortnite fam? DJ Zeke in the building. Hold on, I'm getting a phone call. Yo, yo, what's up, dude? It's DJ Zeke. Yeah, man, what do you mean? What do you mean you don't know about the block party? Everyone knows about the block party. What do you... No, dude, it's a 2-day event, June 15th and 16th. The ticket's only $35. You gotta be there. What do you mean who's gonna be there? There's gonna be a ton of people there. You got Cloaksy, Pokimane, Valkyrae, Dr. Lupo, Loserfruit, Kurt JD, Brendan, Yuri, Martin Starr, Samara Redway, Marisha Ray, Tifu, Fear Itself. Everyone's gonna be there. Dog, it's a 2-day event. No, look, the first day is the creative showdown. Team Evolve built this dope game mode for all the fans to watch. The prom, yes, but that's day 2. Day 2 is the celebrity pro-am. They're battling out for a $3 million charity prize pool, dude. Yes. Are the fans gonna be there? Are you guys gonna be there? Yeah. No, they say they're gonna be there. Of course, everyone's gonna be at the block party. Let's go. We'll go together. All right. Okay, DJ Sundown. All right, I'll see you there. Sorry about that, Fortnite fam. Listen, block party, it's gonna be lit. Tickets are $35. You need to buy them because I cannot wait to party with you. Now, Fortnite fam, that's it for me, so DJ Zeke.
When I first realized I qualified, I just stood up and I looked at my brother who would be opposite me right now, and we just kind of celebrated together. The World Cup came and it like completely flipped us on our head. Like, it's a complete aggressive tournament. You have to get kills to qualify. Like, it's just the best way. You've just got to always be confident with like every fight you take. Like, I know you'll probably be coming up against some like big names and big streamers you've seen, but you've just got to treat it as any other scrim you're playing kind of thing. You just got to be ice cold and you got to be confident with your fights.
I would never have like thought to myself like, oh, I'm one of the best players now on controller. Qualifying for the World Cup was a major step for me to actually help out my family. I'm still in just disbelief. What would it mean for me to take over the top spot? Honestly, I would have no words. Like, this is everything I actually dreamed for. Coming in January, I was having the thought of quitting, and now here I am.
I was expecting that I had a really good shot at being first place. When I was in the last game, I was just playing really safe. I was trying to guarantee my spot to New York. I just needed that one lucky string of games. Everything just worked out fine this week. I think I got really lucky. I got good RNG. Eventually, it worked out. I just grinded my hardest. My advice for players trying to reach the top 3,000 is to always look back at your VODs, trying to figure out what mistakes you have made, trying to figure out what you can do better. You can also look at other players who have been more consistent, see what they do, try to implement that into your own game. The last couple of weeks, I wasn't very confident, but this week I just said, okay, I'm going to qualify. Whatever happens, happens.
Preparing for everything, like example tennis. Tennis is really good for that because when you play individual in tennis, you need to work on yourself and you need to not go down if you lose a point. It's the same thing in Fortnite. You need to continue working and keep your mental up. And I think that's really huge, and my parents really helped me through that too. My advice to everyone would just be to keep grinding. You never know when you could pop off. Like for me, 1 week changed everything. Even if I don't do good, I think it's still gonna be an insane thing from my life and everything. I will always remember that.
I think when I won a Ninja's event, it gave me the motivation to know that like I can qualify for World Cup, and it gave me the confidence that I needed. I've been practicing with my friends, Epic Whale, Scented, and we've been just practicing scrims and stuff like that. I've been practicing like 6 hours a day.
I've been pretty confident that I'd be able to make it to some event at some point just because I've been putting in like 10 hours a day. I have a little bit of a routine. Sometimes it varies, but I usually start off Kovaxing for a little bit and then moving on to the creative before I get into custom matchmaking in like Atlantis Discord. So my advice to up and coming players that want to like do well in the comp scene is watch and learn from the best players in the world like Benji, Savage, and like people like Cease and Elevate that are just the best players in the world. You just watch their VODs and their gameplay and you pick up stuff, learn from the best, and you'll improve.
Heyo Fortnite fam, Sundown here, and today we're going to talk a little bit about the Flintlock pistol and its impact on competitive play.
The Flintlock pistol is a great addition. Sometimes it'll just change the course of a fight.
The things you can do is insane. You can get height with it. It shoots pretty far. You can almost use it as an AR at the beginning game just to get one shot. It'll hit for like 80, 90 in the body.
And this is looking really good for Horrify, but the Flintlock is going to get the high ground. Nikiva, such a smart player.
The Flintlock is a common and uncommon weapon that uses heavy ammunition. It does 86 or 90 damage depending on rarity, and it has a 2 times headshot multiplier. This means that outside of a sniper rifle, it has the highest single shot damage potential in the game. However, the Flintlock only allows for 1 shot at a time, has pretty decent damage fall off, and also takes 3 seconds to reload. In addition to all of this, the Flintlock also has a mobility component to it. When fired, it will impulse the shooter backwards, and if the bullet strikes a target, it will impulse the target away from the shooter. This can allow for some tricky plays to be made.
Player there, runs out into the storm, jump, turn, finds him, yeah!
We've seen a decent amount of use out of the Flintlock during the Fortnite World Cup online open qualifiers. So let's hear from some of the qualified players to get their opinion on its addition to the game.
If I'm low on HP and I have to choose one weapon, it will be this one. You can actually like kill someone from 200 HP to 0 without taking any shots.
And it's also really good for competitive play because if you're high ground or if you want to get away from a situation, the Flintlock, when you use it, it knocks you some distance so you can get away or you can get high ground over someone. I think it just adds a lot of like different plays you can make with it. I think it's good.
I personally really like the Flintlock. I think it's a really good weapon. I think it's a really, really strong weapon in the right hands. You need to know how to use it and you need to base your whole game around it if you want to use it right.
It's just the kind of weapon we need more.
I definitely think it's one of the better things that have been added skill-wise. I like that it's so versatile. I really like it competitive. Definitely deserves a spot here.
Thanks for watching, and hopefully you saw how the Flintlock can be utilized in the right hands. What is the best Flintlock play you've done or seen? Share it with us using the hashtag Fortnite World Cup, and we'll be seeing you guys on the battle bus, or maybe Flintlocking through the air.
What's
What's going on, Fortnite fam? We're here for week number 8, and you know it's time to go meet up with the casters, so let's...
So much for your intro, Zeke.
No! It's time for a weekend!
I'm Golden Boy, one of your hosts, and we're gonna jump right in.
I am so excited to be casting these games today. We are back.
All right, so we're getting ready. It's been a really great day so far. There's a lot to get through. We want to talk to... What?
I have to say something.
Okay, all right.
I found a slipstream.
Oh my god. Squints. Yeah? So you're the in-game producer. Yep. But is there more we need to know about in-game observing?
I believe so, and you should go talk to Andy about that, Zeke.
Hey, what's up guys? My name's Andy. I'm the in-game director for the Fortnite World Cup qualifiers. So whenever we get into game, I take over from Joe, our broadcast director, and start cutting between all of our observers. I work with a team of 2 observers as well as a game producer, Squints, and the observer director in order to try and cut the best show possible. So basically all of our observers are getting the best content during these games, and I'm sort of the one who's deciding which one goes live on air. None of this is possible by myself, so I got a lot of help from my game producer as well as my observer director.
Hey guys, I'm Jeff Rose. I am the observer director, so I work with every observer individually, make sure they get the greatest shots, the greatest stories, so that when we go to Andy and he goes and cuts the show, he makes sure that you guys are seeing the best quality content that you can.
Check out the next block of NA West. Let's see what we have in store.
Aiden had some great plays. If he is able to carry the momentum over into this one.
Are you guys curious to see how audio works for the broadcast? Let's go meet up with John.
Hi, I'm John. I'm the audio mixer, or A1, on Fortnite. Welcome, Fortnite fam, to the audio booth. This is the audio board. All the audio that you hear goes through my hands. This is all of our wireless microphones for all of our talent. And then right here are all of our in-ear monitors, or IFTs, so that I can talk to talent. Like, usually it's something like, hey, Zeke, turn on your mic. And then they turn on their mics. I think Zeke should have heard that right now. Did you hear that? Nice. Also, I have a window.
All done, yay!
Day 1's done!
What are you talking about? World Cup finals over, guys, okay? I won everything.
Guys, I just want to let you know, my favorite person in the world is in this room.
Wow.
Which one do you think it is?
It's not me.
I'm happy to tell you.
It's not me.
It's actually Kitty Plays. Boom! Right there. You know, it's not easy making this look good. Let's go meet up with Monique, the makeup artist, to see how she gets all this done.
No, I don't like that guy, Zeke. He's such a... Oh, hey! Hi, I'm Mo. I'm the makeup artist. I'm the one that makes these nerds look beautiful. Oh, Zeke. Sorry, let me just reel...
There's 2 people that don't get nearly enough love. They are the people who operate the cameras, and I'm going to introduce you to them right now.
That's Allison. That's Mahoney. That's Mo.
Hi.
Touchdown right there is when he gets knocked out with that RPG, instantly rips. Oh my goodness, that was...
North, you know, setting up their cottage, setting up their homes.
Take 3, ready 5, take 4, and 1 minute game!
Ready off 5, ready off 6, take off 6.
Keep on 1!
Ready off 3, take off 3. Ready off 10, take off 10. Take off 5.
And cut. Keep up the good work.
Are we gonna do a Fortnite? Wait, come on. Let's do a Pookie. Let's do a Pookie on 3. 1, 2, 3.
We have a post-show pinata.
Right now, see. I'm right there. Get the tape in the face.
These kids are crazy talented, man. Oh my goodness, it's so hard to keep up with them, but it's awesome. You know, even though I'm older, I can still keep up. You know, I have like a lot of extra experience. I've been playing games for a lot longer than they have. It's about like getting myself in the right headspace to want to improve. You know, after I've gone to the gym for an hour and a half, I always feel like I can sit down and play games for a long period of time. You know, if I don't do that physical aspect, then sometimes I feel like I have a bit of pent up energy, or maybe I feel a bit lazy. I always think of the best strats and the best things that we can do to improve when I'm at the gym, because it's just the best place to have my mind wander. And I really need that, especially being, you know, a competitive gamer or a streamer. You don't get a lot of that kind of downtime. It is very mentally active. So it's really important for me physically and mentally to do that. Even the best players with bad mindset will not go very far. It's all about how you approach it. You need to play purely with the mindset of trying to improve, which means taking responsibility for all of your mistakes. Don't blame the game. Don't blame how other people play. Take full responsibility. Think about how you could have done it better and work on your weaknesses. It's all about mindset. The most important thing to look for isn't necessarily what's in the fight. So a lot of people will say, like, oh, I died because my pump didn't do as much damage, or because he had more traps than me, or something like that. You have to take a step back and you have to look at what happened to get into the fight. So like, you might have rotated into somebody who had 2 traps in the late game. It's a moving zone, but you need to look before that and you say, how could I have rotated better to avoid the fight in the first place? Because those kind of rotations, those ways that you can avoid those unfavorable scenarios, that's how you're going to be consistent. I'm super looking forward to New York and the rest of the week at the qualifiers. Good luck to everyone who's playing. Remember, you do have multiple chances, but the most important thing is to visualize yourself winning. Visualize the success and visualize what it looks like to get to that success. I'm keen to see who else is going to be coming to New York from OC and from other regions as well. It's going to be super awesome.
Hey Fortnite fam, BallTW here to get in the nitty gritty of competitive Fortnite. The final circles in competitive Fortnite are packed tightly with both action and players, all fighting to get the victory royale. Let's introduce one of the most common techniques used to outlast your opponents in those congested final zones. What is tunneling? Also known as snaking or pathing, this is when you build a protected tunnel while running away from the storm and into the next safe zone. When these safe zones get so small, this becomes very, very important, as there can be opposing players on all sides of you. Here's an example of the most basic tunnel, the straight tunnel. From your base, you simply build straight towards your destination straight ahead of you, with a floor piece below your feet and above your head. This is the most basic and also dangerous version of the tunnel, since you're not covering horizontally. You're exposed from your sides. However, you save materials by doing this. The materials you spend covering your sides quickly add up. Then, if you need to go diagonally to get where you need to go, you'll often see players do the diagonal tunnel. At its most basic, it's very similar. You're just changing directions as you go, once left, once right. This is very useful since sometimes you'll encounter enemies that you want to get away from on the road to the victory royale, or the next safe zone is in a diagonal direction. So just change directions and move, but make sure to stay safe from the storm. Now we talked about how you're exposed from your sides. In both versions, you can add walls to either side, or both left and right, or even in front as well. This gets really hard really fast, and this is why it's so impressive that not only are these high-level players tunneling so fast and without error, but at the same time going for crazy plays on unsuspecting opponents to rack up elimination points as well as placement points. It's a lot to take in, and oftentimes they do things so fast that you can't even keep up. Watching players like Cease, Bizzle, Mongrel, Benji Fishy, and all the players playing in the Fortnite World Cup Online Open play from their tunnels can be jaw-dropping. So there you have it. Tunneling, one of the most important skills in competitive Fortnite. It's pretty simple at its core, but at the high pace of these congested endgames, it gets complicated. That means you need to practice, and make sure to hop in creative mode and do just that. You can practice it in the open on your own island, or use one of the many amazing pre-built training courses that creators have made. This was BallTW, and we'll see you in game.
Actually qualify side, it's actually such a relief, such a big achievement, and something I've been working for almost a year now. It feels really good.
I think it's one of my biggest accomplishments. It's just a massive, massive pool of people.
You need to be so incredibly proud of your son being one of the best, one of the best solo Fortnite players in the world.
It's still hitting me like slowly. I was literally just laughing. Like I was laughing so much.
Wow, I won $50,000 guaranteed, and I'm going to New York.
Yeah, gonna keep 50,000.
Oh,
there you go.
As a kid, this is basically all you dream of.
The hype's really real.
It's a game I can compete in, and I think that's why I have so much fun in it.
Oh my goodness! What a play!
I'm incredibly grateful for Fortnite for giving me the opportunity to just pursue gaming, and how many friends I've made through this game.
Thank you for everyone who believed in me, because I honestly didn't really believe in myself.
It's gonna be so fun. I love it.
It's awesome. Thanks, Fortnite.
What's up, Fortnite fam? Sundown here, and today we are going to talk about shadow bombs and their impact on competitive play. If you haven't had a chance to use the shadow bomb yet, it is a utility consumable that drops in stacks of 2, and you can carry up to 6 per slot. When used, the shadow bomb grants the user invisibility, move speed, the ability to double jump, and the ability to wall jump. Shadow form lasts for 6 seconds, but will remain active after that window until the user touches their feet on the ground. We've seen shadow bombs already have a huge impact on some of the Fortnite World Cup online open qualifiers.
Can he hit it? Oh my gosh! He hits it! You freaking legend! Are you kidding me?
Now, let's hear what some of the players who have already qualified for the Fortnite World Cup final think of the addition of shadow bombs to competitive play.
I think with Season 9, the shadow bombs are a perfect mobility that has its downsides and upsides if you use it right. I mean, I think shadow bombs are very balanced right now. They're a really good way of getting mobility considering they're an uncommon item.
So I feel like they're a really good addition to the game. It's as good as a Rift to Go, maybe even better in my opinion. You can get your position wherever you want to, especially end zone. People don't expect it.
A little bit of HP left. You're gonna pull it!
It's a must carry. You know, when that zone pops and you're super far, you can pop a shadow bomb and just get to the next zone. It's great. I love them.
Shadow bombs are amazing. Like I reckon that's like one of the best things they've brought out so far, because you could just sneak into someone's box or like get high ground or like go low ground without taking damage.
There's moments where people clutch up, like very end game, like they might not have mats. And the Mr. Savage play where there's a hill and you went up it with the shadow bomb, it was just crazy.
They've got to go up the side of a mountain, and it's shadow bomb time. He's deciding to take storm damage. Yes. Mr. Savage! Oh my God! Oh my goodness! What a play! The best shadow bomb use I've ever seen. Mr. Savage M rising to the top of the mountain.
Thanks for watching, and hopefully you learned a thing or two. What's the best way you've used a shadow bomb? Send us clips using the hashtag Fortnite World Cup, and we'll see you guys on the battle bus. Or maybe not, if you're in shadow form. We've seen 8 weeks of amazing Fortnite Battle Royale action. Players from all around the globe have battled it out, and some have been able to already book their ticket to New York City to compete in the Fortnite World Cup final in front of thousands of live fans. $8 million has already been given away, and now we're coming down to the wire. Week 9 is the final opportunity for competitors to try and qualify for the solos competition. Who will join the likes of Dubs, Stompy, Tfue, and X2 Jordan on the stage in New York City? Who will be able to clutch up in their final moments, in their last fights, to earn one of the final 19 spots? And with the last 2 weeks on the horizon, we are increasing the weekly prize pool to $2 million. So, get on the battle bus and drop in. This is your last chance to name yourself among the best of the best and to build your way to a spot at the Fortnite World Cup final. What are you waiting for? The battle is building, and you don't want to miss out.
Fortnite fans across the world, we are here. It is week 9, finals day of the Fortnite World Cup Online Open qualifiers. Boom. That's how we do things here. Welcome back to continued coverage. It's the final day here, the final opportunity for players to punch their tickets to the finals in New York City. Now, you guys know me, I'm Zeke. We're hanging out with Sundown. We got Dr. Lupo, we got Monster D, we got Courage JD. Final opportunity, solos competition. Week 9, guys, it is upon us.
That's it.
Yeah, it's coming down here to the final moments, and I'm sad but also excited. Now, obviously, you guys are very excited because you have all been taking to social media, getting ready for the day. We want to go ahead and highlight some of those tweets that have come through because we know you guys are excited, and believe us, we are sharing in that excitement with you. As you can see there on the board, wishing the best RNG possible to anyone playing the World Cup Finals today. You know, nothing is better than seeing all these controller players slay out in Fortnite. You know, of course. I can't read this one. Aller, good luck, less.
Just read the emojis,
yep.
Zeke.
Lots of happy heart faces, fire, and flex. There you go.
There you go.
Now, of course, guys, we'll be hitting at that hashtag throughout the day, so feel free to use the hashtag with pulling tweets all day long. Now, you guys know how things go with the broadcast, all right? We'll start with the schedule. If you've been with us, you know exactly how this goes. Oceania and Asia have already wrapped up those games. Those happened overnight. Now, Europe we're hopping into. Later on, we'll take a look at Brazil with some replays from Oceania and Asia. Then we'll wrap the day with NA East and finally NA West. Now, because we are in that solo format, top 25, top 15, top 5, Victory Royale are all the placement thresholds, and every single elimination is a point. Now, don't forget, guys, that prize pool this week is double, but not only for week 9, for week 10 as well. So every placement you see will be double. Now, of course, money is great, but the qualifying spots, these coveted spots are what these players are after. 8 in Europe, 6 in NA East, 2 in West, and 1 in Asia, Brazil, and Oceania. Now, of course, we've already seen people qualify in previous solo weeks. They're rolling on your screen right now, Sundown. This list of names is already incredibly stacked, and we're going to add more.
Right off of the start, you can see the week 1 players there, Dubs, Vivid, and C, some of the longtime competitive veterans. You have Top Banny coming out of the Asia region, as well as Takamura, who recently signed with the Crazy Raccoons. But that's not to forget Dementos, FaZe Funk, Psalm. I mean, we could list every player on here because these are the elite, the best of the best of the best in terms of the solo Fortnite players, and these are the ones who will be representing their region in the Fortnite World Cup Finals in New York City. And this is the last opportunity. You can see those who are able to capitalize there in week 7. Just call it a couple. You have Jordan from the X2 Twins, Irausi, the controller player from Europe, Gambit Flexi locking in his dual qualification spots. And as Zeke said, there are 19 spots up for grabs today, and we've already seen a couple of those go over.
That's right. We have 2 players that have already punched their tickets. We'll start with Oceania and see how they did. Now, of course, Rona season, congratulations to you. This is actually Sazman who made it through here. It's crazy to see Alec was only a single point behind. That's how close this did come down to. Just like we talk about a lot, every interaction does matter. A single elimination would have put him back in a tiebreaker contention, but huge props to Sozman, aka Rona season there, changing your name, you know.
I mean, big ups to him. He's going to be able to compete with his duo on that stage. They are in the solos competition, but it's the duo of Cat taking walls, able to clutch up in the last moment. He talked about it, had a great performance, but again, just cannot stress enough. Everyone in this top 5 had been so close so many times over and over again. The level of consistency was absurd. Let's actually take a look at some of the gameplay that Sosman was able to put together last night and just run through. Here we go. Right now, you can see him rocking that skin. And actually, it's funny because 3 of the 5 solo qualifiers who came out of Oceania were rocking that nice little outfit there and showing off why. You can see Sauceman able to put in work with the combat, using those new shadow bombs as well for good effectivency. And you can tell particularly for Sauceman where he strives is in these box fights when he's the aggressor. If he is going forward and he gets the first shot and he's the one dictating the pace, he's very much so able to close these fights out, and he's continually looking to go from target to target. You can see here holding that player off, hitting the headshot right after. Brilliantly done from Sauceman, very much so deserved. But again, there was another region that finished up last night, and it was Riddle Moffin who took it away. KGA Sexy Boy, you have to feel so bad because he was again 1 point short but Moffin has been up there in the top 5, and he showed his consistency last night, winning it out. And one other thing I do want to note about all these scores, typically in Oceania and Asia, where you have only a single spot, you'll see a lot higher. You'll see somebody with a triple-digit score or people pushing the pace. All last night, the entire front page of the leaderboard, single digits in the top 10. The entire competition has whoop, and it's only going to get more tense. Let's take a look at some of the gameplay we had last night coming out from Moffin and what enables him to be successful. Now, the key here for Moffin is finding himself in these kind of early rotation zones on the high ground where he's able to get shots and enable him to rifle fire. Yes, he can go aggressive and play in the close quarters combat with the best of them as well, but where he in particular succeeds is when he's enabled in that situation, able to get off rifle and sniper shots. You can see here, still going to work with that combat, but now dropping down, has the heavy sniper out in pretty much every opportunity, but he's not afraid to drop down in the storm, take a couple ticks there when necessary. You can see him catching the player there, just trying to knock out the builds, getting some trade. But watch here, he half edits the ramp so he gets just enough coverage to then trade the rifle fire out. Really, really well done there. And now we're gonna punch their tickets to New York City.
Do you want to do Oshi?
I'll get the first one.
All right, there you go. And of course, boop. There you go. So congratulations to Sozman, aka Brona Season, and Moffin XD. Now we actually do and have a interview with Sozman. It's very late for him, so let's go ahead and take a little bit of his time just to say what's up, see how things are going. Sozman, my man, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, thanks. How are you guys?
Oh, we're even better now that we're going to get to talk to you. How late is it where you're at right now?
It's 3:38 a.m. at the moment.
Wow.
So I guess we should be asking how early it is there, man. But I know we talked a little bit. Phoenix right away, as soon as he saw you, was hit me up saying, you have to interview Sozman. So what was that final moment like when you saw you on the leaderboard, saw you in the top spot, and you knew you took the last qualification spot out of Oceania? What was going on?
Well, I kept just running around like upstairs and downstairs talking to my parents and people on Discord, and then like when everyone said that the 2 people that were contending were dead, I thought I qualified. And then out of nowhere, Alec drops like a 12 kill win and a 14 kill win and is 1 point behind. And I thought that really scared me. But yeah, I don't know. I was just so excited.
I can only imagine, like I said, running around the entire house. What was your parents' reaction? Did they kind of understand how big of a deal it was? Did they understand why you were sprinting around the entire house? Or were they kind of like, what's up?
They knew it was a pretty big deal to me when I came, because I told them about the second that when I placed second in week 5. And yeah, they just kept asking, are you sure you've qualified? Are you sure? And I said, yeah. And I don't know, it was just insane.
Okay. Now, how do you feel, now that the next step is the Fortnite World Cup Finals? Are you going to compete in the next week's duo competition at all? Or are you just going to like put full focus into the finals? And, are you ready to go toe-to-toe with all these other regions, all these other all-stars?
Well, I'll definitely focus on duos for the final week with Kat. And then once that's over, depending on how I place in the duos, I'll just focus on solos. And I'll probably have to switch up my gameplay because OC is kind of different to how people play in New York, I'd imagine.
Totally understandable there, Sozman. Great answer. Last question I want to ask you. What's it going to be like to be competing on that stage with Kat, since both of you have now qualified for the solos competition? Did you kind of share a moment afterward knowing you'll both be going to New York City?
Yeah, it was pretty cool to know that we've both achieved it. It was awesome.
Nice, man. Well, last thing we want to get from you is any shout-outs you want to give. Plug your socials. Get those on in there, man.
Yeah, I'll just plug my Twitter, which is Sozman with 2 N's. And then, obviously, my duo, CatFNBR. And then my longtime friend in the scene, GlockDFN.
There you go.
His Twitter.
There you go. Well, Sozman, massive congrats. You're going to the finals. We can't wait to see you there. When we meet up in New York, we'll have to get a slice of pizza, as Golden Boy likes to say. Thank you so much for just taking a little bit of time and chatting with us. Hope you have a great rest of your night and potentially going forward the rest of your days.
Or rest of your morning. Get some sleep.
Yeah.
Enjoy, man.
Yeah,
relax,
definitely.
and good luck in duos.
Thanks for having me, guys.
For sure. We'll catch you later, Sozman. All right, now, Fortnite fam, of course, we're getting ready to hop into Europe. Really quickly, let's take a look at the standings, see how things are going for players right now, and see who is currently leading the pack. Andretta there. All right.
Okay,
48
Andretta.
points. Leading the way. Now, don't forget, there is 8 qualifying spots. So right now, Skite is currently, I mean, this is your top 8 as of now. Don't forget, we're only about 3, 4, 5 games in so far. Still lots of room.
This is nuts, by the way. Andretta in the past couple of weeks has been playing incredibly well. We've seen him kind of pressing in towards the top 20, but recently, semifinals yesterday, he had a number of clutch victory royales going through, and now 3 matches, 48 points with 2 victory royales, 9 points clear, and you're like, oh, 9 points, that's not that much. But when the rest of the list from 2nd to 10th is separated by 6, that's nuts, and these, like, I can't wait for the games. It's gonna be incredible.
Well, you don't have to wait much longer, Sundown, because we need 2 casters on deck to get us into all the action. Let's get Courage JD and Monster D Face up on stage. Gentlemen, take it away.
Thank you, Zeke and Sundown. Yes, the day has finally come. The last chance for players to qualify for the Solo World Cup Finals. Monster, ready to have a great day together.
We are indeed. And just looking at that leaderboard, man, seeing Teak up there, seeing Skite up there, and Andretta, these players have been clawing their way every single weekend. I can't wait to hop into EU.
I'm rooting for Mongrel.
Just kind of rocking
I'm rooting for Mongrel. The game's ready to go. Without further ado, let's hop into the action. Ladies and gentlemen, this is it. The final opportunity for players to punch their ticket to the New York City World Cup Finals later on this year in July. And here's what we're talking about when the games change on Sunday. 50 players in this lobby. Absolutely insane stuff, Monster, as this is going to be stacked throughout the day.
Yeah, last night we got to kind of close out the show. We saw the difference in the lobbies. Was not this stacked, if you want to call it that, but now we have 50 players. Look at the congestion. Then we also talk about, do you want redeploy or do you want to be floating around all these players? You don't, because look how many players are just kind of parked up everywhere. There's so much risk that goes into setting up shop out here. And that's how much more is riding on the line now, is these are their final chances, their actual final chances to make it to New York City. Bakito nearly messes up there, almost chokes the shot, but he manages to connect. And that's going to be his first elim.
Because look at Bakito's inventory. 16 total AR shots, 11 total shotgun shots. Bakito needs to grab this ammo on the ground. I think they will do just that. Is now back up to 114 shadow bombs as well for a little bit more mobility. A very, very important elimination as Bakito is now set up to be able to put in a little bit more pressure as this game goes on. And the overbuild there, I like that a lot. Recognizing that there's a lot of extra brick, building up a second layer, and still now being at max of that material, giving themselves a ton of cover. Look, doing it even more. Love this from Bakito.
Yeah, definitely an impact elimination right there. It's going to set him up real nice. And whoa, Julian come way up at the dropship here. It should be off already. Yeah, you can see there's no animation anymore. So he's got a flint knock. That's going to be his way to get down. Very, very lucky of him to have something to kind of hop off of this place.
Yep.
The flint.
And we do know that sometimes the trap inventory doesn't load. In the
so he
might have a launch pad, but no, this is probably going to come down to a flint knock type play. And there on the right side of your screen, something we're going to be seeing a lot of today. The storm surge in these late game scenarios, in general, due to how many players are still alive and still active. Julian did get one. Still peeking on out.
It's crazy because he's so high up, these guys don't even see him. Oh, he also has a baller. Yeah, he's got no problem
That's
right
how
now.
They'll wind up getting down. Cool.
yeah, for sure. He's got a couple options. And worst case scenario, he gets shot out. I mean, he's going to be able to save himself with the flint. So he is good to go. Out goes Julian Combs. He just kind of hops on out. And now to your boy, Mongrel here. You're rooting for him, man.
Yeah, Mongrel is kid's a freak of nature in this game. And he's an absolute beast. Doesn't even have a shotgun right now. We saw Mongrel was top 10 prior to this game. As now we'll continue to push forward. One thing we did notice, Mongrel, of anyone on that top 10 list, had the most games played.
Was he at about 6 or 5 or so, yeah?
5 with, I believe, 30-something, 37 points.
You know, it doesn't even put him out, though. We're about an hour, 15 minutes left in queue, so honestly, you want to be at least the halfway mark. So he's got a couple games chucked out of there. He's totally fine to still play several end games. And oh boy, Bakito, we saw him going in just a little bit
There's
ago.
the
Is
elim.
going to get taken out.
That was the elim Mongrel needed. Mongrel did all that into the zone just to be able to get some materials, but only wound up getting 5 extra builds. And you see the quickness in how fast Mongrel can edit and fully tunnel, but keep the sprint going. That is, in that full sprint, it's wall, roof, edit, wall, roof, without stopping a sprint once.
Yeah, it's incredibly difficult to hit that stride and not mess up, especially under these intense circumstances. Just imagine what the audio, the sensory overload going on right now. There's 15 players nearby.
Still 16 players remaining. We're top 15 is more placement points. Mongrel knows this. Looks like he's sending it right on through. That player escapes in the baller for now. Mongrel down to 33 health left outside the zone. This is not looking good at the moment. Now continuing to be challenged. Finds a launch pad though, and immediately gets to the high ground. Is anyone above?
I don't think so. I think he just managed to take this high ground free of charge, but he's got to pause here. He's trying to heal back up. And placement points have all been divvied out at this point, so breaking that top 15 is another big threshold here. Mongrel's got his heavy sniper loaded. What's he gonna do?
Well, right now he's just trying to conserve these materials. That's why he's dropping down, getting close to these enemies. He's got to force something to happen, using every little bit to the best of his abilities, trying to break into his opponent. Gets the wall replaced, the elimination comes through. Down goes Flawless. Now in our top 11, Mongrel continuing to build on out. Has picked up another mini, still now at 60 builds. Has earned more there, and again, the speed is just absolutely insane when you watch him play. It is mind-blowing. Nate, all the way though, on the high ground.
Yeah, and there's still 2 players in ballers. 1 left now. Average, by the way, is just kind of hopping around here. You can see players in the low ground are all forced to fight each other right now. Full has 0 ping, is about to go down to Webb here. He's got his last moments in this lobby coming up close. Can Maggio hit the shot? And he does. Bacon Fist goes down right there. Average as well goes down to the Storm.
Yep.
And that's going to be 2 big eliminations. He's back at max health right now and a launch pad. This is very intense here.
Make this happen.
3 players. 3 other players, I should say. Mongrel's taking on Nate here. Infantry rifle, poor at putting pressure upwards. And Mongrel's already declining now. He's jumping down. Mag wins another engagement against Webb here. It's toe-to-toe, and Mongrel ends that run. And now it's Mongrel versus Nate.
Mongrel's got the bandages. Mongrel's got the bandages. And is just going to decide to box up and try to bandage and heal through this. 1 bandage being popped. It's going to come down to a heal battle at the end for Mongrel. Can he get the second? Is there enough time? He wins it. The 1 bandage makes the difference. And with 5 HP, Mongrel gets the victory royale with 7 eliminations, pushing on up to 36 points.
There's only one statement that can explain that situation better. It's the no hesitation on Mongrel. Catches the elim right away, immediately goes off to ban. He doesn't waste any time. That's why he's ahead by several ticks in those final moments.
His moves, his thought process, it is insane. The man's still looking to qualify for solos. He's been so consistent in duos, but has been pretty public on social media about some of his struggles in solos. As right now, again, this is the last opportunity, folks. Everything on the line this week to qualify for the Fortnite World Cup Finals solos competition. The last spots will be determined today. An hour and 11 minutes left in the queues in Europe. Ryu right now on your screen trying to drop this player down into the trap and does just that. Goodbye, Siberia. Have a good queue.
And that's one of the cleanest ways to catch an elimination. Catch him off guard. You place him right underneath the box. That's why you don't want to sit too close to an opponent, especially when armed with traps. You can just go either which way.
Yep, Ryu knew exactly the advantage that he had right there. Socio spraying down at what looks like a drop coming in. Skite, someone who was in the top 10. Currently boxed it up. Again, this is the road of how Skite wound up getting there. 15 points right now. Obviously, if you're in the top 10, you got a little bit higher on the live servers, but we're catching up to speed. Making sure you all know the full story today. 39 players remaining in this one. Just a reminder for everyone at home, top 25 is where you start earning placement points. And that goes up in small increments up to the max score of 10 points you can get for a victory royale.
And just hitting that 25 threshold is so difficult. Players start to really slow down.
Yep.
As you approach closer and closer, you realize, you know what? I don't have to take risk right now. Let me just wait for an opportunity. And that's why you can see the congestion here with 39 players remaining. No one wants to go first and kind of wait for the zone, as this entire region has now hit a bit of a stalemate, right? Bit of a standoff here, if you will. These players are waiting to see what can happen. 7 seconds remain until the storm is revealed, and then things are really going to pop off.
Absolutely. And still, we mentioned the players are in the lobby, what, 40 seconds ago, a minute ago, and there's still 39 left. No one has dropped. As this is slowed down, but when the zone moves, that's when realistically all hell breaks loose. And that's what you're seeing on your screen right now. Edits coming in, builds pushing out. You got a minigun being fired. Skite trying to go for high ground, has 102 builds remaining.
Yeah, Skite's still in the running here. The redeploy is going to work out really nicely here, but he's going to get chipped down by a ton of players. Lands on someone. Can he put a trap down? Doesn't look like he's armed with one, but it is okay. Lucky for him, he does not jump out of the box and pressure him. As Skite is being super cautious now. He has to heal up. Finds a headshot. Nice. 120. Great tracking on Skite, who's a veteran. He's been a veteran on the competitive scene since the summer skirmish days. Good to see him back out here. Good form right now. Can he find his second piece right here? He's on the hunt. He's eating a lot of storm damage, trying to find himself a little place of safety here.
There's really no option. I think that's a smart play from Skite. Skite has bandages, right? And look at the builds. My
so
goodness.
Clean.
But yeah, you've got bandages. You build on in, you take some storm hits, great. Right there, Skite got a free path in without having to worry about enemies, while taking and only suffering 25 damage because once he gets healed with bandages. I feel like you can't be too upset with that.
Yeah, not only that, he's being efficient. He's not blocking his rear end towards the storm because he knows he's safe. Catches a player with his blueprints out. He lands a big 105 right there. That epic AR, perfect for pressuring through players, especially in wooden builds. That is a very weak structure regardless of how much health it has. You can see a Shadow Bomb player right above him. Skite is looking upwards, trying to see if he can find an opportunity there. But just the fact that he's not in the low ground right now is allowing him to just kind of continue to keep pressure without getting too much in return here. Now the rotation once again, just holding the storm line. That's a big placement point right there. Top 15 here, Courage.
And Skite, we hopped on board, had max materials now down to just 21 builds. That just shows how much Skite has tunneled through these last few zones. I like that, spraying at the metal before it gets any stronger. Fully built metal this late in the game would take a lot to break, and there's another great combat shot. Engagement.
He thought about going for the mats and stuff like that. Saw the baller kind of scoop on through and yoink it up. Couldn't get it. Find someone right out of the storm. It's Marcus, but there's another player in the storm. He knows it. Does try to track right there, but left his top side open just a little bit. Finds the beast just in time to keep him in the game.
And Skite more than happy again. It takes a little bit of storm damage just to reposition. Goes in the storm for a second. Takes 10 damage. That's fine.
Look at how well he does reading the storm here.
Yep. This is one of the most challenging parts of the game, is this late storm movement. Rezus on the high ground. You've got 3 players on low, all fighting within 1 box of each other. Skite holding the edit, drops 1 player in. There goes Ryu, who we were watching earlier on. The other player just above, I think, is weak as well. Yes, Zol cut down by the combat shotty. Skite now 1 versus 1. And the player on height has begun to drop down. It's Rezus, who's landed in the tree. Skite knows this. Skite's going to try to spray down this tree in hopes that Rezus has to drop with the redeploy. That should be a free elimination for Skite. There's no way. You're not going to be able to drop on in onto a player like Skite and get away with it. He knows it as well. 8 elims. Victory Royale jumps up to 33 points.
Way to turn that game around for the Lestream boys. Skite really clutching up in those final moments, holding his composure. And more importantly, just storm coasting right along those outsides, guys, allowing him to save material and come out on top. But we're hopping into the next round here. You saw Skite, previous victor, here trying to make his way in the top 10, guys. Don't forget, he's in contention right now for making it through the Worlds, guys. Is their final opportunity here for the European region. We've already punched the tickets for OCE. Here we have Zestin, lands a boogie bomb. Can he make it in time? Decides to double up on it. Says, you know what? Let's start this party again here. finds Fixie with a nice 1-2.
And is there any more of a frustrating way to go down in a game right there? Double boogied, no chance to really defend yourself. Zestin heads up play, utilizing every bit you can get in these super stacked lobbies. Monster, a lot of times you don't get to loot all you want. I can promise you, you're not landing in a spot uncontested. You're getting some scraps and having to make the most of it. And right there, keeping the boogies for a moment like that, so smart. As you guys know, we catch up with replays to see exactly how these top players have made it to where they are. We just watched Skype win that last game. Here's the game after, now at 34 points. Staying boxed up for the moment. And, whoa, a door nearby. He might actually try to make something happen.
No way. You think he opens it? Just gives a little knock in the door here. Let's see. You see someone off in distance, and oh my, the precision there to just open up the pyramid and one-pop that guy. It was extremely weak.
And that'll be the one thing that assault rifles will always have a place for in this game.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Even with people saying, oh, I'm just going to run the TAC AR or the drum gun does the assault rifle's job. Right there, the assault rifle did the assault rifle's job, which you love to see. He's going for the wall replace battle with this player on the other side.
And I love how he's doing it. He's not overexposing himself. He's staying in the comfort of his own build here. And
right there, for a second, you saw the little change up and how the builds were going. Oh, he gets one wall. He gets the pyramid as well. So this player frantically trying to back out up. Skype is unrelenting with this pressure. Breaking through every wall possible, and there it is.
Oh, the fake out
Made
really
it in.
quickly.
No trap comes down, so you got to think there's no trap available for this player, and that's only going to force Skype to want to push even more, but good thing for the opponent. A stink bomb comes in, which will scare Skype away.
Definitely was a close one there. Skype, scary player under pressure. You can see when he has the confidence, he is unrelentless. But he's composed. He knows what to do. As Skype lands and someone trades out a couple shots, as Chris, he goes off to build here. Just trying to reposition up now. He does have plenty of heals. He pops one preemptively here because he's probably going to go on the hunt again. He actually caught someone there, but that is not going to be his priority. Instead, priority is get to the zone, stay safe. Make sure he owns all of his box there. Someone's trying to recycle some of his builds, puts a little pressure up. Just in case Skype is on the hunt again here, Courage.
4 players away. 3 players away now from getting into placement points. But Skype, this is, remember when we mentioned yesterday that you need to get eliminations? That was 2 traps. Jeez. Skype narrowly makes it out alive right there. But remember when I said yesterday, you've got to have the, you've got to get eliminations too if you're going to qualify. Skype knows this. That's why Skype is playing this aggressive. You need to not only win, but you need to get eliminations too, or else you're just not going to reach the points needed to qualify.
This is the difference too, right? Like, he knows he's in top 10. He's like, you know what? If I can continue to hold this lead, these are the risks the champions have to take to make it through and qualify in their regions. We see it in every region. Now Skype is landing some more shots there. He's just on the hunt. So long as he has the slurp effect active, you can see his hyper aggression here. He is not pausing for a single moment. He's looking for eliminations. The ticks are still going. The slurp is still in effect here. So he is just slowly looking to capitalize. Slurp effect finally wears off and gets a little bit of favoritism from the zone. This is going to work out in his favor here. See, now it's going to double back, allowing him to save some materials, possibly find someone on this rotation here. Notice how he's holding now again as well.
Yeah, it's actually a baller that's made it inside the box. Not a comfortable flight that he wants to take. Skype with 10 builds left. Every single thing matters. 109 tag on the player below. Drum gun back out. He knows this is his floor. I knew it. There you go. Brilliantly done. Unfortunately, can't connect to the shot. Wait, that's his floor as well.
Oh, boy. Orbits. By the way, you didn't own that floor, buddy.
Yep. That's what that Orbits was just in panic mode right there. And for Skype, that's a beautiful elimination because look at the mats now. Up from 6 total builds to 45. But Na'Vi has different plans right there for him. Down goes Skype. There's your lobby from top to bottom of all players remaining. 12 players to be exact. Make it 10 as 2, now 3 go down in the last couple moments. Bodies start to drop quickly. Crew on height at the moment. Does have all the ammo you could want, but not the materials in this case. We'll have to follow these builds down as, yep, there it is. Staying 1 or 2 levels above the opponents. Tries to catch someone off guard with that heavy sniper right there as they push out of the box. Fortunately, no one's home. Crew reloading the heavy sniper rifle for maybe one final shot. Again, the key that opens all doors. One player down to the right, one down to the left, and another one on the ultimate low ground. Some good shield tags and the elimination due to the storm. Crew, there's that heavy sniper I mentioned, but a very fast reaction from the player below. And with that, I believe Crew has just lost high ground, Monster.
Yep.
He's got 0 builds remaining. Ghosty
couldn't.
drops down. Crew 1 versus Dave 2K. Dave keeping this height with 38 builds. Crew trying to drop him on down. Dave doing a great job just building as much as possible to blanket out the sky. And Crew sees this knowing, whoa, Dave's still got a lot of materials remaining then.
Yeah, it's going to be a close one here as Crew is now having to tarp out. He doesn't have anything left. Heavy snipe comes out. Can he find a low peak? And it's going to be 1-2. Connects with every single shot on the fall down there. And that's going to be the difference in a clean end game for VHV Crew.
Yep.
Who managed to clutch it out in the final moments.
That was a great challenge right there, forcing the player down. It looked like Dave either wound up panicking and ran out of mats and didn't keep track of it, or just whiffed the build, because if you're going to drop down like that, you can't have the blueprints out, Monster, and that's exactly what we saw right there.
You know, one of the toughest parts too, that it's kind of underrated, but when you are moving, your character model can also block out visual, especially from the high ground you jump out and over. So that's also a factor here. But take a look at this lobby here, Courage. Nearly half of the players that queued in are still in the game here, in the running.
And look at how far, like we're into the 5th zone. You're 5 storms into the game, and still half the players are left. It's like you're just getting to this point is an insane challenge. And then now the toughest part ahead is getting the top 25, getting some sort of points. Because if there's still 51 players left, that means the majority of the lobby hasn't even got a point on the board yet.
Yeah, but storm surge is still a factor as well as we approach this zone 6. So you have to be proactive, or eventually you will fall here, as Flamesgram is
already, a fire skin combo.
Already on elimination, yeah. New one dropped yesterday. Definitely copped out.
And that's the ice knight or whatever it is, back bling. Fire.
Here it is. Grams is on the prowl right now. This whoever's in the box right here is in trouble. There's multiple players nearby. And he backs up again here.
It's cat and mouse.
He's not giving up though. He takes the wall. Can he land a shot here? Heavy AR, really tough, but it's his ramp. Can he make the quick edit? And he does. Oh man, it's Rage who tries to sneak out through the window.
And that's just so smart. Not falling into the trap, not taking that 150 unnecessary damage. Gets the wall, doesn't W key to the box, instead then fights for the ramp. I mean, that was what, 3 or 4 boxes that Flamesgrams had to do that through? Doesn't just get frustrated and W key in, which would cause him to lost health. Instead, plays it the right way and is rewarded with not only a clean elimination, but max materials in the late game.
Yeah, and he still has a baller, which you notice that baller players tend to have very low eliminations because of their passive play. If you give someone who is willing to sit on top of you and pressure you down, catch eliminations, and have this baller, he is only setting himself up for a better end game. Sees replenished materials, and I'll take a look here at Bloxu from Lestream. Great loadout mobility at an all-time high with a Rift to go, Shadow Bomb. 40 players still remaining. No one has been granted any placement points. He just jumps out, gives Ake a nice little shot right there. Yeah.
You tell Bloxy was looking like, oh, do I get out? Do I go loot the rest of that or what? But when you've got a baller, you got a Rift, you got Shadow Bombs. Listen, you're just using all these different rotation items. You're playing for placement with an inventory like that.
You can't just jump out on people like that. Blocks out and hit them with the stunner, man. You gotta slow down, dude. Here is Julian looking for a big rotation right now. Shadow Bombs out. He is in full effect to get to this next zone. He does find himself there. It's a quick little crouch. Clean edit. Doesn't overdo it. As the ballers are also creating rampage here. So with all of these Shadow Bombs, this is where you use them. You dump them out. You save your materials. You try your best to see if you can catch someone, being that you get ahead first. And if you can't, it's okay. You just use on to the next one. Nice little shot right there. Is going to take that player's baller, takes 60 shield as well, and good reaction speed. Catches the Teds who walks into the box with the drum gun W key. It's not going to work out. And now he's got a heavy sniper. If
you're watching right now, whether you're watching on Twitch, YouTube, or the in-game client, first day today that we have the ability to stream live from direct in the game. Shout out to the developers who worked on that one, getting screenshots of it. I want you, if you're watching from in-game right now, or in general, send us how you're watching. Show us the setup. Show us a screenshot of you watching in-game. Let us know what you think. Hashtag Fortnite World Cup. We'll bring so many new eyes onto Fortnite competitive and see just how insane and high skill these lobbies are. You know, I've been involved in esports for so many years, Monster, and, you know, getting as much competitive support from the developers is so key, and this is another step to that. Alongside the incredible prize pools and the events coming up, Fortnite's in a good spot here, moving forward. Let's just,
this is the World Cup.
Let's get rid of that semi-auto sniper rifle, change up a couple little things there, and I think we'll be good. Epic, you got my number.
You guys need help. Holla at Courage, man. He knows what's up.
Let's give me some chicken parm. You don't even have to pay me.
Pay the man in chicken parm. It can happen here. As Blackstone pops the riff, takes up a player with him. Will he land a shot in the air? Looks like he managed to connect. Something just happened there. Yep. Notice Black came down by himself. Nifty little trick right there. If you can be fast with the fingertips, you can see make some big plays here. Blocks is in the game right now. 3 elimination, no longer has a baller. These final moments here. Down comes the Shadow Bomb, says, you know what? I don't want to be all the way up. Someone's healing right nearby. What's he going to do? 7 players remain. Can he break this top 5 threshold, get some more placement? That is what he wants to do right now.
So close.
So close. You have to think, if he's at 30-plus points right now, he is near the top 10. He's in the running for Fortnite World Cup. There it is, placement points being rewarded as Julian catches A's.
There's still a chance for more, though. Between the final eliminations of the Victory Royale, Flamesgram, water falling all the way down from the insane high ground. Yeah, no choice here.
Black
has made it down. Blacksu on the low ground, fighting Julian. 3 players left in total.
This is the World Cup, guys, the European region. Who is going to punch their ticket to New York City as we have a 3-way battle? Julian goes up, says he doesn't want to battle Blocks. Well, that might be a big mistake because Blocks is going to find him with the peak shot. And no, Julian actually takes himself out to the storm, so no one's rewarded. But Graham Flame has the campfire that's going to out-tick Blocks in the final moments.
Yeah, the 2 campfires better than none. Flamesgram shows it right there. Congrats on the Victory Royale. 39 points, definitely higher up there on the standings. But I know Zeke and Sundown are back over at our analyst station, want to show us some updates from Europe.
Thank you so much, Courage. Great cast on day, as always. We are back in studio. I've got Sundown with me. Let's go walk on over, see how things are going. Hope you're having an incredible Sunday. Finals day is beginning. Sundown, what incredible clips have you pulled for us today?
Thank you so much, Zeke. Yes, so what we're going to look at now are titans of the European region who have yet to qualify for the solos portion of the competition. So we know Mitro and Mongo have qualified in the duos, but here is Mongo trying to make his case for a solo spot as well. Nice little pickup on the backside to get Paquito and then to get all of the mats as well. So now he's on the low ground, backside of the storm with a decent power position as everyone's rotating towards him, gets the combat shot there, and you can see his aggression. He's trying to take the walls and continue going forward. Nice little hangout on the tree here since he has no builds, using it to catch himself, finds Supremacy's Magi, gets all the builds from that, and now uses it to box himself up and then go to work. The 1 bandage being enough, the other player desperately trying to take the wall, but the 5 HP being the difference, takes the Victory Royale going there. Another Titan. We saw him all through the Winter Royale, and we've seen him become so close in the other solos competitions. Will today be his day? Sky is making a case for it here. Running right now, he's been playing a lot of low ground towards either the right or left side, forcing players to rotate into him and then utilizing his combat shotguns and higher shields to take favorable trades. He's never straight clearing people out without taking damage in and of himself, but he's okay to go forward and be aggressive, catching I'm the Beast there with a sick edit through the floor and then dropping it out. Now, riding along the side, you can see this is a top 4 situation. Incredibly tense, incredibly clutch there. Getting Ryu with the fast edit and then turning around and finding Zol right away. So what does he do from the low ground? Knows the player's up on the tree. Courage called it out great. You can't do this to Skype. Even if it is the half second, he's going to hit the shot. That was a great victory round. Let's hop right on board into his next match because he's not slowing down. Right there from the cone, a singular peak. Sometimes you make your own luck. If you don't take the shot, you don't get the elim, and now Skype fragging his way. One thing not going down to the trap there, put him into the top 25, got the placement points, and then picking up this one right here pushes him into the top 15 as well. When we talk about critical and clutch eliminations, those are them, the ones that get you into the next point threshold. So crew, from the top down now in a top 10 situation, one elim then drops down and immediately with the combat finds negative. Now Valhalla Vikings crew, he has qualified with his partner Chapex in the duos just like Mongrel, but he's desperately trying to find a solo spot. He's been the most consistent player out of Europe in solos to not get a spot, and there's been a reason for it. Look at how meticulous he plays this low ground, finding the player, picking up the victory royale right there. Brilliantly done. Let's take a look at the standings and see where they are. Crew up there in the second spot, but Andretta is not slowing down, picks up another victory royale, 4 games played, 52 points. And again, you might not think a 7-point lead, but when the rest of the table is within 5 points of each other, that's nutty. If he can keep it up, he'll be going to New York City. Let's not forget Mongrel and Skype right up there as well in qualifying range right now.
Yeah, don't forget, guys, top 8 is going through. Now, because Kalisha has already qualified, this spot would go down 1. So right now, Jamside would be going through if everything was said and done. There's still plenty of games to get into. So for now, let's send it back in. Courage JD, Monster D-Face, get us back into these games. Gentlemen, take it away.
Boys, yes, back into more European action. Look at that leaderboards, and any surprises on there for you? I know, seeing Andretta up by 7. I mean, Sundown pointed it out. That's an incredible position to be in halfway through.
Yeah, I mean,
a little bit more than halfway through.
It's been a stompy show up until this point, so to see a new person at the top, it is definitely a shocker here in the final weeks, where you would think the pressure would be getting to more players, but the best of the best will prevail here. As now we're looking at Aiden. He's trying to battle with himself. And just to give you guys a little heads up, there's 48 minutes to queue up to try and get your last 10 games, and you only have 10 attempts to muster and accrue as many points as possible within the window time frame to queue up. So 47 minutes remain. And again, if you're watching competitive Fortnite for the first time ever, this is what it is. We're jumping straight into the action to keep you guys up to date, skipping past, scrubbing past some of the landing portions. But these are full games, and we're hopping into the tail ends to give you guys the best of the best action in the final moments.
Hear me out. How dope would this be? This would be nuts. I know. This is why, Epic pays me in chicken parm. Imagine this. You watch from the in-game client, and it's a challenge, and if you complete the challenge, you get a spray, or V-Bucks, or a dance.
Yes.
Viewer incentives to tune in to the Fortnite World Cup. I mean, that sounds like 200 IQ, huh, Monster?
I mean, if we can do that.
Oh, it can be done.
Can we split credit, or I was here?
Epic, if you wind up doing that, you owe me half the game's revenue from all time.
All right, as we hop back in with Snowy here. Captain Shenanigan Courage is in full effect here.
Gosh, hello.
Filming hops and spots. Big old shot for Jonzo right there. It's going to keep Snowy in the game. He did take some damage, but with that 50 siphon heal, it's going to allow him to just kind of bounce back like he never left. So free elimination for him, kind of walks in. That's a desperate play to make when someone kind of throws it all out. And
it almost looks like they moved out from that campfire and just went all in with the heavy sniper. And that's one where you try to make it work. Unfortunately, it doesn't. Here's Mongrel, 38 points. Still doing well from when we last checked in.
Can he find a shot here? He's so close to making this placement point. He's at 28 points here. So close, so close. He just needs to kind of hold out for just a little bit longer. It's a big rotation here. Having a Shadow Bomb should keep him in the running. There are so many other players with Shadow Bombs colliding and collapsing in the same area right now. Does he own all the walls? He does a quick check, a little spin around right there. Lands some more shots. He's on the hunt. Can he find it? That player has no shield. Takes a wild pop shot there. Doesn't quite connect, but he's still in the running right now, and he does make the placement finally here as Idhem goes down.
Top 24. Mongrel trying to hold these walls. Getting sprayed out for a moment. You can tell the thought process of Mongrel, right? It's, I look at the zone and shoot at anyone that is with their back right to it, right? And that's all Mongrel keeps doing. Now realizes how low he is on mats, decides it's time to stop full boxing and start just pyramiding when I can. That's the elimination, though, that Mongrel needed to at least earn some more materials to make this next rotation even possible. No shadow bombs, no baller, no launch pad. Just his ability to out-aim his opponents and build with whatever materials he has left. Mongrel, 0 builds. The worst case scenario for Fortnite in the late game. The one silver lining here, Monster does still have a ton of HP, but here's the issue. Still not in the top 15, wants his extra placement points. Zone right at his back. I can tell you right now, if this was Mongrel, still on another position in this lobby, Mongrel would be shooting at where he is himself because of this positioning. Down to 5 HP, no shot, no builds left. Where Mongrel's skill comes in is in his ability to outbuild and out-edit his opponents. And unfortunately, with no builds, that's not possible.
Yeah, in those final moments, it's hard to tell if he did just scrape out the placement point, though. 3 players went down in quick succession. We'll find out when we check in with them later here. But Razi, who had the high ground and some impulses, is trying to chuck him out here. Maybe see if he can flush somebody out really quickly. Imagine if he lands one. It would be crazy. A little real for himself. He has the flint knock to get off of the high ground. If you guys are new to the Fortnite scene, you can negate fall damage with the flint knock. It's actually one of the most versatile tools in the game, or weapons. So here comes the AR, gets a nice little headshot right there, and Mitch goes down. And now it's off to build again as he's trying to save his high positioning here. He does have that flint, 1 flint to the body when you're in the high ground, and you're getting chucked off those builds.
Bye-bye.
Probably guaranteed to get eliminated at that point.
So Razy just more than happy and going back over all these old builds, so not even having to reinforce this. It's already fully built, it looks like brick and metal. Castery, Nort, Snowy, Finn, all on low ground. Razy's having a time of their life up top. Top 5, so now the only placement points remaining come from getting a victory royale. As now Nork will build on out, staying ahead of the zone. 30 builds remaining. Good job holding these back edits. Here's this rocket launcher getting reloaded, and that is just a terrifying sound this late in the game. Big damage coming through. Shields have been shattered on this player up close. He's gonna have to push into this. And no, he's stuck. He's stuck. He's stuck. Oh no, he is stuck in Nork. Oh gosh.
What? It rotates back around into him, so Nork's now ahead of the zone. This is going to give him another opportunity to stay in it. Can he win the exchange? Breaks the trap in time. Jumps out, and Castery goes from 200 to 0 HP. Nork is still in the game right now. It's a 1v1 situation with the low ground hold. Razi, it's got to be low on materials at this point. Yes, he is. Just one. This is a close one here. Nort goes out with the side peek, catches him off guard, but it's not going to be enough as
The
Raz
last
seals
shot
the deal.
was the flint knock. That's why Razi's flying through the air. It was a combat flint knock duo shot that wound up ending the game right there. Such a dirty combo that you can wind up using. Wondering if more and more players will begin to bring it on out. One brief note that I just wound up finding out through Twitter. Through the in-game client, you can actually queue for games and in queue watch the stream.
Let's go.
That's
That's
real
awesome.
dope. That's real dope. So really looking forward to continuing to see how that gets built out. And again, if I'm going to keep plugging it, it's because I know how important it is for the Fortnite competitive scene to be seen by as many people as possible. There are a lot of people out there that are probably watching for the first time today, so I know the brilliant minds in production, except for Punch, will be playing the new key terms for a new viewer video a lot more today than normal. So if you see someone that's asking questions in any of the chats, or you know someone that might be watching for the first time, help them get into competitive Fortnite. Help them with the viewer experience and welcome them to this beautiful, beautiful thing.
And maybe if you're just wondering what's going on, what's playing right here, hey, it's us. This is live, real time.
Yeah.
You guys can totally tune in and learn some Fortnite tips and tricks.
There's $2 million on the line in these matches today. And this is the last chance for these players to qualify for the Fortnite World Cup Finals, live from New York City in July. you're in the LA area, remember the summer block party takes place this week. Get your tickets. By this week, I mean literally 7 days from now, next weekend.
Nice little push right there. Driz is going to find Hellwayne. And notice how he plays a single wall. He plays the right camera angle naturally, holds it down, squeaks past that trap. If you hold the wall, you can just kind of get right past, and he doesn't lose his composure. He just pushes all the way through. Now back with Skite. Skite.
He's always got the camera on him, huh?
He's been in it today, man. Today could be it.
Observers
Top eight make it through.
Hey,
oh boy.
If we're gonna keep showing him he's gonna hit shots like that, I'm happy with it. I'm more than happy to keep bringing that up. Heavy sniper, arguably my favorite weapon in the game. In a position like this is like the bread and butter. No real worries, no one challenging. Just the ability to aim on down in the zones moving towards him. Great spot to be in.
Yeah, all he's looking for is for someone to over peek, make a window, and find an opportunity here. But Kubik still in the game, has a baller. About half HP, just looking for an opportunity. Can he find one? He's going to be way ahead of the zone here. And he is somehow just above the damage threshold. You will take damage in the final moments if you have not dealt enough in return. So just hiding around the ball is not going to cut it. You have to get shots, get tags on opponents like that right there. That's 259s, and he catches Midnight with a third one. A body, can he get another? That's the second and a third.
Jeez.
All off of the baller to get ahead of the zone first. Push players who have limited mobility, they can't move across fast enough, and they fall victim. And off he goes. He doesn't even care. He doesn't even match. Doesn't need anything. He's just out.
Absolutely helped to move above that damage threshold needed for the Storm Surge. 32 players now, 31, 30 left in this game. Top 25 will earn those placement points. On the high ground, you've got, what is that, Losick, a baller flying in, and oh, the baller just broke, so there's actually a fight going on for height right now. Majestic still playing low underneath all these builds. You see Hassan down there as well. Solorynikov there too. The beautiful, beautiful view of everyone moving with this zone. As they all know, the Storm, the #1 enemy this late in the game.
It's so crazy. I've had the pleasure of reviewing players like Tachinkin and Stompy. During these zones, they will battle for the high if they have even a slight chance at taking it. So even with 20 players remaining Storm Zone 7, you want to be up here. Let's see what Tachinkin decides to do as he's running out of materials. Can he find a player? If not, he's going to be forced low, but something tells me he's going to catch someone here. Can he? And there it is. Someone's in his sights right now. He's going to get ahead of this player. He's going to work his way around, find a better angle here to take the battle. And now he's off to hunt. Hopping back up. Oh, it's a big old
it stopped.
Mountain.
It stopped. Wait, I think it's still kind of going over it, isn't it?
It's going right over it.
Oh, goodness. Well, people have got to build on up. Tachinkin gets hit hard in the back. We'll have to top and pop minis. Pressure still coming on in. Good job, though, recognizing that. Here's the view, and look at these players scattered all around the people down low. It's looking quite grim. Right over the mountain. He's doing everything he can with the flint knock. Top goes down, floaty goes down. Tachinkin's made it at least over this side.
It's because he didn't move first, but can he get this shot right here? He is going to hit him for a lot. 105 on the flick to Delta, and Delta ICU goes right down. Chinkin is now battling the Storm. Can he get out in time? He knows there's a player above him. And he is. This is the last build right here. Could not get in the cone fast enough. Unfortunately for him, that's going to be the end of his run there. But we're still in the game here. Driz is now battling someone who's trying to pad up to high ground. It's LOL Boom, who's already qualified for solos just a couple weeks ago. Driz catches someone in the ball. He's going to fall right out of it. And now it's Boom who has a player right above him. What's Driz going to do? Still looking for the peak shots here. Breaks another baller. Says no free rotations today. He's putting this pressure down right here. He's got plenty of materials to hold it out. He is just hunting right now, and no takes fall damage.
Didn't get to pop the redeploy in time. Good job. Hopping on the Boom with that combat shotgun. 4 players left, 35 points in total. Jersey needs a solid ending right here to stay on track with these top performers. Drops it on one. Brilliant. Done. Catches himself with the shot. Just that little bit of extra chip damage. Doesn't break the shields, but either way knows the player down low's weakened. Drops into another box. This time it's on white HP. And this is the worst thing you could be on. Stuck in a box, player pushing in. Alpha down to what? 15 health? this should be done.
If that, and these are the final moments, what are you going to do here? You just kind of be happy you got your placement and you get back to the lobby now. Don't waste any time there. Is
GG there for Drizzy. A ton of materials left. European start to the day. High level lobbies. 50+ players remaining in these 5th zones. Storm Surge all over the place. Zeke and Sundown.
Thank you guys so much, man. These games are absolutely unbelievable. Guys, we cannot stress this enough. This is the final week of solo competition. This is it. Their final chance to punch their tickets to the Fortnite World Cup Finals in New York City. Now, of course, we're hanging out with Sundown. We've got some incredible clips to show you guys. We'll take a look at the standings, and then we'll do one more special thing before we go to a break. So, Sundown, let's send it your way.
Yeah, so we're going to take a look at some of the highlight reel plays we saw in that last block. And just real quick first, Nork on the low ground here, able to put some pressure in with the shots and then follow up right away, going to work with that rare combat shotgun and then dropping around the storm. Now, one thing, pushing through the trap, note his HP. He was down to 10, but the siphon put him back over the top. However, Razzie putting his high ground and that flintlock to work. If you saw the piece you talked about in the right hands, it can be absolutely devastating. And you see here, he opts to go for the higher one-shot potential. Now, the important thing to note is the flintlock has a better one-shot. So if you're only going to fire one there, that's going to be the choice. Now, Skite here, taking advantage. You can't get caught being a gargoyle, particularly when only your head is poked out there. Good night, Raven. Nothing going on there, but Cubex here with a nice little gatekeeping on the side, putting the great AR to work. That's 1, that's 2, and that's 3. Real quick 3-point spread from him there. Well done. And then he was just able to box himself up and get safe. Now, let's take a look again at the standings, and still in Dread with a 7-point lead, and Crew is actually starting to kind of separate himself from the pack as well. 8 points clear of the 3rd place, which is Mongrel, by the way, who's gotten himself up there. And again, Stompy never learned how to share. But one thing I want you to look at here, 3rd to 10th, Zeke. What is 49 minus 46?
3,000, just kidding, it's 3. That's a pretty small spread, man, all things considered. Don't forget, this is the top 3,000 players in the region. To have a spread this tight, especially in finals, the last chance, this is crazy.
Yeah, and like Jamside's done. That's all 10 of his matches.
That's all 10.
Can't queue up again. He can hope and pray that he holds on to that 8th spot, but I promise you, 46 points will not be enough. You're going to need to get in the top 8 because, again, this is your last shot to get to that New York City final.
Man, very tough spread here. We have to see, again, we're getting down to the wire here, guys. It's coming down to these final few moments. Now that we take a look at the replays, the standings, we want to take a moment to take a look at the social wall, because as you guys know, I love interacting with you guys on social media. We got some incredible things like this crazy Peely artwork from Zavira. Okay, Zavira, I hope I said your name right. If I did not, I am so sorry. I can't wait to see Benji and Savage in the World Cup. It's going to be amazing. Watching the Fortnite World Cup, and it's going to be great. World Cup, thanks for the minigame while we waited.
Liquid Tay wants a rematch, Zeke. That might be something you can win.
Zegamus Prime, are we on for rock, paper, scissors rematch today? You know we are. In fact, Fortnite fam, because we're going to go to break, let's do one right now. All right, now it's going to be rock, paper, scissors, shoot. All right? Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Very simple. Hashtag Fortnite World Cup. Tag me in it. Did I win? Did you win? Now, don't forget, throughout the day, I'll be on BTS. So you may want to watch because we're going to be playing more of this game. And I'm going to win. I'm probably going to lose. I'm going to try. But with that, guys, we're going to a 5-minute break. Don't go too far because when we get back, more Fortnite action after that. What's going on, Fortnite fam? We're here for week number 8. And you know it's time to go meet up with the casters, so let's...
So much for your intro, Zeke.
Poopy, no! It's time for a weekend!
I'm Golden Boy, one of your hosts, and we're going to jump right in.
I am so excited to be casting these games today. We are back.
All right, so we're getting ready. It's been a really great day so far. There's a lot to get through. You want to talk to... What?
I have to show you something.
Okay, all right.
I found a slipstream.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Squints.
Yeah?
So you're the in-game producer.
Yep.
But is there more we need to know about in-game observing?
I believe so, and you should go talk to Andy about that, Zeke.
Hey, what's up guys? My name's Andy. I'm the in-game director for the Fortnite World Cup qualifiers. So whenever we get into game, I take over from Joe, our broadcast director, and start cutting between all of our observers. I work with a team of 2 observers as well as a game producer, Squints, and the observer director in order to try and cut the best show possible. So basically all of our observers are getting the best content during these games, and I'm sort of the one who's deciding which one goes live on air. None of this is possible by myself, so I got a lot of help from my game producer as well as my observer director.
Hey guys, I'm Jeff Rose. I am the observer director, so I work with every observer individually, make sure they get the greatest shots, the greatest stories, so that when we go to Andy and he goes and cuts the show, he makes sure that you guys are seeing the best quality content that you can.
Check out the next block of NA West. Let's see what we have in store.
Jaden had some great plays. If he is able to carry the momentum over into this one.
Are you guys curious to see how audio works for the broadcast? Let's go meet up with John.
Hi, I'm John. I'm the audio mixer, or A1, on Fortnite. Welcome, Fortnite fam, to the audio booth. This is the audio board. All the audio that you hear goes through my hands. This is all of our wireless microphones for all of our talent. And then right here are all of our in-ear monitors, or IFTs, so that I can talk to talent. Like, usually it's something like, hey, Zeke, turn on your mic. And then they turn on their mics. I think Zeke should have heard that right now. Did you hear that? Nice. Also, I have a window.
We're all done! Yay!
Day 1's done!
What are you talking about? World Cup finals over, guys, okay? I won everything.
Guys, I just want to let you know, my favorite person in the world is in this room.
Wow.
Which one do you think it is?
It's not me.
I'm happy to tell you.
It's not me either.
It's actually Kitty Plays! Boom! Right there! You know, it's not easy making this look good. Let's go meet up with Monique, the makeup artist, to see how she gets all this done.
No, I don't like that guy, Zeke. He's such a... Oh, hey! Hi, I'm Mo. I'm the makeup artist. I'm the one that makes these nerds look beautiful. Oh, Zeke. Sorry, let me just reel...
There's 2 people that don't get nearly enough love. They are the people who operate the cameras, and I'm going to introduce you to them right now.
That's Allison. That's Mahoney. That's Mo.
Hi.
Touched on right there is when he gets knocked out with that RPG, instantly rips. Oh my goodness, that was
North, you know, setting up their cottage, setting up their homes.
Take 3, ready 5, take 4, and 5 minute game!
Ready off 5, ready off 6, take off 6.
Keep on 1.
Ready off 3, take off 3. Ready off 10, take off 10. Take off 6.
Keep up the good work.
Are we gonna do a Fortnite? Wait, come on. Let's do a Pookie. Let's do a Pookie at 3. 1, 2, 3. Pookie.
We have a post-show pinata.
Right now, see. There's that camera. Hit Zeke in the face.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the continued coverage of the Fortnite World Cup Open Online Qualifiers. We are in solos, week 9, the last chance to qualify for one of the biggest competitive gaming events ever, live from New York City, the World Cup Finals. Cannot wait for it to kick off. The action today has been fantastic. And guess what? I've got great news for you. We have one of the most talented, handsome, well-spoken, loved, positive people I've ever met in Sundown, and Dr. Lupo.
Thank you so much for that, Jack. I honestly think that's the most genuine and heartwarming thing that you would challenge me to find any drip of sarcasm in that. But I am Sundown, joined here by Dr. Lupo, and we're about to get you into the final moments of the European region for the Fortnite World Cup online open qualifiers. I mean, it's been absurd so far.
The only time I think I could get Jack to say anything positive about me is if I covered my body in chicken parmesan, but we do have games ready to go. We're going to knock Europe out of the park. Hopefully we got some shenanigans from them. It's been good games already so far today. This is the last week of solo qualifiers, which means the pressure is high. The tension, it's insane. Because if you're not going to make it as a solo qualifier right now, you're not going to make it as a solo qualifier ever. This is it.
Yeah, this is it for the first Fortnite World Cup, and now you can see Mongrel, the player who everyone thought, oh yeah, he's going to qualify. Well, now we're here, week 9. Is he going to qualify? Currently sitting in the 3rd place, just behind Crew, and he pushes right on in and takes away everything from Hawkers. You can go queue back up, try and get your last matches in, as we have 25 minutes left in the region.
So Mongrel has been seen as one of the top performers in Europe, if not the entire world, since the World Cup began. If you had to pick 3 things from his play style, Sundown, I know you watch so much competitive Fortnite, what would you say the 3 most important things that he does as a player? What are they?
The 3 most important things he's done are, 1, when he looks to go aggressive, how he shoots first. Like, yes, we talk about how good he is at building, but that's because he puts himself in the position. When he goes to drop down and be aggressive, he's looking to hit his first shot and then trail it up right away. And because he's already aiming in those spots, he's more than likely to hit those headshots, hits the reactions. The second thing, when he decides to rotate, the timing at which he goes enables him to play more aggressive and to catch other people as they rotate. And then secondly, what he does after he gets an elim. He's always looking for another one. It's never pause, go do something else. Gotcha. It's immediately go find someone else, find the next target, whether I need to cover myself from them or whether I need to go aggressive.
Love to see it. Appreciate your insight on that. That's why we keep you around, plus the luscious locks of hair, obviously, like a real-life Viking.
I hope so. I definitely think in a past life was a Viking somewhere, but now Wolfie's trying to be a Viking here and push right on over into the 1x1. Gonna opt against it and instead just raid and pillage that elim away. Crinkle going down there as we now hit top 30. So top 30, Storm Circle 6. So incredibly tense zone and less than a minute till it comes to a close. Everyone's gonna have to rotate past Wolfie's right here as 2 more go down and we get closer to the first placement threshold.
3 more before you hit that top 25. Rift to go, 2 launch pads, even a flint knock potentially as a mobility weapon here. Wolfie's sitting on honestly a pretty solid kit. We've seen the flint knock as one of the most used versatile weapons in Fortnite right now. I don't think there's been anything that's come close to it, to be quite honest with you. It serves so many purposes. We said before, on the cast, just to make sure that people understand, it really is it's a very important loadout piece for players that know that they're going to be playing inside boxes versus others that potentially have to fall down from above, especially if they don't have a redeploy. They've got a weapon that can stop them if they have 2 builds and catch themselves on the low ground before they hit the bottom and take all that fall damage. Applying pressure from underneath right now. Wolfie's trying to drop in his opponent. Quick replace the floor. Wolfie's looks like it was be over there to the top left. Mongrel rotating the top right of your screen for just a moment. 2 more players need to go down before we hit the threshold. I'm thinking at some point we're going to see a rift to go here from Wolfie's to reposition. Trying to bait out shots just like that. Sly Clement on the rotation, does not realize Wolfie's is hiding inside the box. Here we go. Pulls the rift out and pops it.
Yeah, and he makes sure he's on the backside of the circle, scouts everyone else. They're not letting anybody else on a free rift, and also just going to pop his parachute and hang out because it's 26, boom, 25, so everyone getting the 3 points there. And now let's take a look at the rest of the lobby. Yeah, Keenstar on the low ground has already double qualified. Stompy as well now on board with Mitro here as he gets taken out by Lord Rohat, and that is monstrous. Did get the 3 points for the top 25, but not going to get any more. Mix and Stompy on the low ground. Nuji's Kaizen is about to go down as all of a sudden, and now we're into the top 15. That was Mongrel. I apologize for speaking there. Stompy goes down as well. So nice little spree from Wolfie's all of a sudden. Up to 6 elims. You see Martaz also still in the lobby as we get closer to the top 10. Wolfie's continuing to take shots here, but not finding anything right now. Player next to him does own that wall, so just going to go 1 over.
Wolfie's an excellent example of timing the shot, timing the push. Doesn't have to move out too far ahead of the circle if he doesn't want to. You do get a little bit of that leeway. You have a chance to look back exactly as he's doing now and look for chances to take shots at players that are still on the move. Some shots from up above, that combat shotgun range, very effective. Basically the perfect range to scope in, ADS, take those shots, see if you can get full damage on it. Shot from above, third-party opportunity at the fish down below. Is he going to pick it up? And he does indeed, up to 41. 3 players left. Wolfie's at 41 points, 7 eliminations, a big game already. Launch pad's gonna kind of be useless. A jump shot around the corner. Wolfie's picks up another elim. Looking at 8 right now, and he's in a 1v1 all the way up top. The player dropping in, spoiler. Look for any chance he can, take an opportunity to take a shot. 25 builds, both players sitting on about the same amount of material, so it's going to go into a heads-up 1v1 here. Someone's going to drop in on the other. Wolfies might make a climb before too long. Does have the flint knock and the launch pad if he wanted to do it, but just baiting the timing on a shot might be the most important play right now.
One thing to note, though, spoiler, has the high ground, also has 5 bandages and the campfire. If it goes to a full close, which happens in 45 seconds, he will have the advantage. But I don't think we're going to get there. Wolfies goes up with the flint knock. You can see that in the bottom right-hand corner, gets the first shot. Now has the shield advantage, but loses the HP advantage as Spoiler puts himself back on the low ground. Spoiler in the top right.